Sean Myrie, Friday Night Live and Direct. Yup, please like, comment, you know, all that good stuff, right? So, a new episode tonight, and it shall continue, but this one is about a popular or a famous journalist named Don Lemon. He used to work for CNN. He got fired 2022, and ever since he became an independent journalist, right? So he's in this whole thing with the Minnesota riots and everything because what? January 18th, right? So he was at a church in Minnesota, St. Paul's, right? And they're saying that he interfered. He interfered with the First Amendment by going to that church, and it was a protest against the ICE, right? The immigration protest, but they charged them with like interfering and the First Amendment right. But this man's a journalist, right? So they charged him with that, indicted him with that. And just recently, Thursday night, I think they arrested him, right? So Thursday night, they arrested him. Today, sometime in the evening time, he got bond. So he had a lot to say about the situation. But yeah, Don Lemon, he's a character with Trump. Trump called him a loser, and Nicki Minaj does not like him. So what do you guys think about this? Don Lemon getting arrested by the FBI. That's what happened basically to him. He got arrested by the FBI, right? Because he was interfering with something, but he was just doing his journalism, right? He was just doing his journalism as any other journalist would do, but they said that he was interfering with the First Amendment rights. The First Amendment rights. But he's a journalist, right? And just because it was a protest against ICE at a church, it became a problem, right? Became a problem because he was a journalist. This is kind of crazy. You see what's going on? Remember, I warned people. Anybody who talks against Trump or Trump doesn't like, they're gonna get locked up. Remember, Nicki Minaj yesterday was at that whole thing for Donald Trump, and she's against Don Lemon. She doesn't like Don Lemon. I think she called him out on Twitter, right, by a homophobic name. I won't repeat it, but she called out Don Lemon. He was, this is controversy, big controversy. I told people if you screw around with Nicki Minaj and Trump, especially Trump, Nicki Minaj is going to be going after you. That's what happened. They went right after him, right after Nicki Minaj and Trump had basically a good talk the other day, right? So he got arrested based off of the First Amendment that he was interfering January 18th at the riot, a protest in Minnesota. So now, right, he's free, but he's saying he's going to fight this. He's going to fight Donald Trump. Is he going to? Nicki Minaj called him out, called him a bad word the other day, right? So that's why this is all coming up. So if you talk against Trump, like I said, that's why they got that whole TikTok shit going on right now about everything what you post about ICE, they're gonna get you. If you talk about ICE, they're gonna get you. Now, what does this say about journalism and freedom of speech in America? Right? This looks bad because he's a big time journalist that's known. What does this say about the real freedom of speech? It depends who you're talking about because he was just talking about the ICE riots, right? Trying to cover it in the church where the pastor, I don't know if you didn't know, the pastor works for ICE. The pastor of that church in Minnesota, St. Paul's, where he was going to do journalism, right, works for the ICE. So that's why he got caught up. This is bad. And he thinks he's going to fight the government right now. Donald Trump called him a loser, people. Donald Trump called this guy a loser. What do you think about that? But what do you think about your freedom of speech? There's no freedom of speech, really. This is an example. I was saying it, my opinion, there's really no freedom of speech. So the First Amendment, right? They're going by it in result for the ICE, saying that he interfered and done all types of shit for the ICE. But the First Amendment ain't protecting him. He's a journalist. He got locked up Thursday night. So they made him spend the night in jail all the way until Friday. He got bond. He's still released on bond, right? The judge, the first judge, when they called it to court, basically dismissed his stuff. There's other three people who were charged, right? Another journalist, but they dismissed his case. But now they want it back again. The FBI came for him. Cash Patel came for him, right? They did not like what the judge, passed. Bless up, Jonathan Thompson. They didn't like what the judge was doing. So they went right back after him, arrested him Thursday night, and then he spent the night in jail all the way till Friday evening, and now he says he's going to fight. This all happened because Nicki Minaj. I hope you know. Nicki Minaj yesterday, who does not like this guy, Don Lemon, called him out a couple days before on the X, saying he's a cop, bad word. And then he responded talking about her baby father, saying that he's, he has a shady background, and talking about her brother. So this is Nicki Minaj. I remember what I said. Anybody, this is just the beginning, who talks about Nicki Minaj is going to get it. They're going to dig up dirt on them. I'm seeing dirt getting digged up on Jay-Z already. I don't know if that's her talking to the FBI or whoever. I'm seeing dirt digged up on that because she doesn't like him either. So where does this end, right? Freedom of speech in America. You guys, if you're American, you should look on this. This is a journalist. This is his job, and he got arrested just for talking. This is an example, right? They're saying he was interfering. What was he doing so bad? You tell me, guys. What was he doing so bad at this protest? They said he was interfering with things, right? What was he interfering with? I swear he's supporting the protesters. Wasn't he supporting the protesters? What was he really interfering with? And they indicted him for this, right? January 18th. And now yesterday they just arrested him. They just arrested him yesterday. And now today he had to post for bond, right? So what does it say about the American freedom, the freedom of speech? Where is the freedom of speech? There is no freedom of speech. Really, there is no freedom of speech. Now, you'll be targeted if you talk against Trump. That's the message he wants to put out there with even the TikTok. They're saying any ICE stuff, any Trump stuff will be basically, like shadow banned, or they'll take it off. So if you talk about Trump, it's not good. See? Talk about Trump is not good. Do you turn off the lights? Turn off the lights. You cannot talk about Trump, right? Baloney. You think so? That's what he's doing. He's trying to control the narrative through media. He's trying to control the narrative through media. I guarantee Don Lemon is going to bring up Nicki Minaj because she called him out, and then it went back and forth. Yesterday, she met with Donald Trump, right? She got her gold card, probably was talking about Don Lemon, and they arrested him. You have to look on that, man. Is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that they arrested him? You guys saw me. It's too much a coincidence. Nicki Minaj calling him out, and then he's saying something, and now he's locked up, right? Let's up 2011 North. Yeah, now he's locked up. Well, he was locked up for a night. So she won in that battle. But the freedom of speech right now in America, anybody else who goes to a protest, because the protests are spreading, right? If you're a journalist, do you really want to go out there? Or do you want to risk being locked up like Don Lemon, right? If you're a journalist in America, do you really want to talk about Trump really bad now? Do you? Because he called him a loser, right? Donald Trump called him a loser, called this guy a loser, and more, right? And Nicki Minaj called him a homophobic word, right? Sucker. You could put it together, sucker, right? So, um, what's really going on? Do they pick and choose what you can say against who? Because that's what's going on, people. Right now, it doesn't look good for freedom of speech in America. So look at this shit too. Like it's going down to even the rap and the music too. You got Drake suing, but you know he's Canadian, but suing for lyrics for someone saying something. So people are really sensitive right now. And Lemon said he's going to fight this. He said he's going to fight this because the freedom of speech is getting attacked right now. What next? What next? Right? Certain people could say certain things, but he can't. But he can't say it. I don't know. Who do you support? Do you support Trump or do you support this guy? I don't sound scared. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I'm good. I'm very good. Wilbert Howard, I'm very good. It's people in America who should be scared, or you should be more careful. You can't say nothing, certain things about Donald Trump, right? They got people locked. They got him locked up. They got this guy locked up, Don Lemon. He got locked up. Even though he came out on bail, right? He still got locked up. Dumbass is not about freedom of speech. So what is it about? What is it? What did he do? Because they're saying vice versa. He with the First Amendment, right? He interrupted something and then interfered, right? So what's going on? What's going on? They said he interfered with something. I swear he said he was just trying to cover the event in Minnesota at St. Paul's Church. That's all they're saying. That's all he's saying. He went to the church to do journalism. He's an independent journalist, right? So he went to the church to cover that event. Three other people, I think they got arrested with him, right? And I think they got hurt too. But there was a other journalist. He got arrested yesterday from the January 18th event. So he's targeted by Nicki Minaj, a guaranteed 100%. You could put money on it. Nicki Minaj got him arrested. She's laughing right now. I guarantee she's gonna have a post going up. She's gonna have a post talking about this because he thought it was going back and forth with her, and now she says she's Trump's number one fan. She said she's Donald Trump's number one fan, right? She is Donald Trump's number one fan right now. You see her, eh? In the flag, right? Trump's number one fan. See, they had beef. They had beef. These two has beef. Screw Trump. So you say screw Trump? Well, a lot of people saying they love Trump. Poor Don Lemon. See what Don Lemon, he he probably just wanted to test the waters, right? He wanted just to test the waters. He wanted to see now how what he could say. So now he realizes what he could say, and he still wants to test the waters because he was saying freedom of speech, right? The first amendment, right? They're breaking that. He's saying that Donald Trump's not going by the amendment. Nicki Minaj, she is the suspect for this. Digital ID say the wrong thing online risk to A. That's the direction they're pushing. Yes, like England, like London. It's not what he said. It was him doing it in the church. It's a law. Oh, I see. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. You're saying that it's against the law in church. So he brought it to the church. Yo, Don, he's trying to, you know what, maybe he's disrespecting the church in a way. You could say maybe he's disrespecting the church. He's not recognizing the church. So in that way, he's trying to say he could do any type of speech in the church. Maybe he's wrong, as you say, right? Randall Cheek, maybe he's wrong for breaking the law, going into the church and doing what he was doing. But he's a journalist, so that's going to be the fight: church and whatever freedom of speech, right? That's what they did to the people that entered the abortion clinics. Oh, I see. So they done that with them. Okay. Mm. I see, I see. So they done that with them with the abortion clinics. Okay. So, yo, Don, gotta be careful, man. But he says he's gonna fight this. Don says he's going to fight this. 100% he's gonna fight this. He's gonna fight this. But he got arrested because I'm telling you, Nicki Minaj is behind it. 100%. Nicki Minaj is behind it. See, this is what she said. Nicki Minaj sparks backlash after calling Don Lemon a homophobic slur over Minnesota church incident. So she called him a homophobic slur over the church incident. And then he went back and talked about her baby father and talked about um, her brother. So, in response, yesterday, she was at a meeting or whatever summit with Mr. Donald Trump, nice and cozy, holding hands and all types of stuff, right? This was her yesterday, if you don't remember. Her yesterday, she was like nice and cozy with Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump doesn't like him, does not like Don Lemon, right? Nicki Minaj has brainworms. Oh, Lee, Nicki Minaj has brainworms. Listen, this is what sparked it. Let me tell you, like, right after this, Thursday night, the FBI went for him, Cash Patel, straight for Don Lemon, right? No joke. FBI. You see how they went on him, right? Arrested him, caught him. What is this for being a journalist? It's crazy. It's an example for the rest. It's an example what they want to do to anybody. Okay, let me read what you're saying. Walter, Don Lemon did all that because he wanted to go somewhere where he can get more bananas day and night. Oh, what that's supposed to mean? Bananas day and night. Poor Don. But you know what? He got fired from CNN 2022. So this is what he knows the media. He done this for attention. I think. He might say no, he's trying to do it for the right. I think he done this for attention so that he could get back into the media game. He got fired. He's an independent journalist, so he done this so he could get some attention. Let's be straight up. Unless he has explicitly transpassed by the owner, staff of the church, he has the journalistic right to document on the premises, and even then, a reasonable amount of time must be given to leave. So we don't know. We don't know what's really clear, but he's fighting this. He's fighting this. We don't know what is really clear, but Don wants to fight this. But the thing about it is, you can't help just think of that Nicki Minaj is behind this. Imagine. Remember what I said. I said this yesterday, seeing her with Donald Trump, right? And her having a beef with this guy. She's the new pit bull for Donald Trump as a celebrity. So anybody, and she said it, people have to listen to her message, right? She's gonna go after any celebrity she feels she doesn't like, right? And who doesn't like Donald Trump especially, and they're gonna probably get similar fate. Should the journalist who filmed the interview J6 instructionalists should have been charged? I think another journalist was charged. I think other journalist was charged actually, and it was three people besides him, right? So we don't know about the other journalists. I agree. Don is collateral. I believe this is just giving him attention. Probably 3 months down the line, 2 months down the line, some company is gonna hire him. I don't know if it's gonna be a big company, but no company what's associated with the Republicans or Trump. It's going to be some other type of corporation, kind of that's independent. Because right now, Trump has the chess boards all out right now. More things are happening every minute as we speak. More things are going on. Why would journalists be charged? Why? But they charged him, they arrested him, they're saying they indicted him breaking the First Amendment or something, like interfering with the First Amendment. But it was a ICE protest at the church, right? But the pastor of the church, I heard he's ICE. I heard the pastor of that same church, St. Paul's in Minnesota, is a ICE individual. So we got to just look that up. Never harass children regardless what side you're on. So at the church, he went there, right? And he felt that he had the journalistic right to do that, a freedom of speech, right, under the amendment. So he doesn't give a damn. And he spent what, a couple hours in jail. So now he's gonna still fight the fight. His stock just rose. Yes, you're right. You're right. See, that Don knows he could afford the bail. He could afford the bail. He got the money, right? So they're sucking the money from him because he had to pay, right, to come out. He had to pay a bond. Don is loving the attention. You're right. I agree. I agree what you're saying. Don is loving the attention. So it's a rebound. It's a rebound. He's loving the attention. Never harass children. Tell it to the files. So they were harassing children at the protest. That's what was going on. Let me know. He was harassing children. They're saying he was interfering with things. They're saying Don was interfering with stuff, so they charged him. Patel went straight for him. Like Patel is the dog is a like a pit bull for Trump. Patel is going after every single one. This guy's not joking, yo. Are you the hate ICE government? No. The ICE is doing one thing what's right. ICE is getting rid of illegal people, people who are illegal in America. That's what they're doing. One thing is right, he's getting rid of the illegals. So he cannot fight that, right? He's not even from that state. He knew what was going to happen before it happened. That's why he's charged. Yes, you're right. I agree with that, Gander. I believe this is part of his type of campaign to get back a job because he was fired 2022 from CNN. I didn't even know he was fired that long ago. He didn't have to pay a bond. Federal prosecutors wanted 100K, but the judge released him. Oh, then why? See the fake news. There's a lot of fake news out there because they put it up that he paid some bond, so the judge released him. The judge doesn't believe that he should be charged, and they wouldn't let Diddy bond out. Yeah, yeah. Churches are sacred, never hurt women and children. You can hate the policy, but leave the workers alone. Yo, listen, this is an example for freedom of speech, people. This is an example of freedom of speech. So that's what he's saying. He's saying that. That's what Don Lemon is saying. He's saying that this is against the amendment. This way, First Amendment. That's what he's saying. Told you he will his case free Diddy. You're saying no one cares about Diddy. Diddy tried with Donald Trump right now, but that didn't work. But listen, this is an example they're telling people. If you talk, and even if you don't think so, they're saying, let me read what you're saying, Gander. Freedom of speech is fine. He could have stood outside the church and spoke all he wanted, but once he went inside, he has problems. That's what happened. It's true. It's true. He could have been outside, but he wanted to go inside, get more, the inside scoop, right? But anyways, he got fired 2022 from CNN. I didn't even know he was fired that long ago. So this is probably a reason just to get back in the spotlight, straight up. And it doesn't help that Nicki Minaj is good friends with Donald Trump, saying Donald Trump is the number one fan, and she doesn't like this guy. They were going back and forth, right? He should have waited till they came out of the service. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Pam Bondi's running personal missions for Trump. Yes, all of them. They're running some missions for Trump, people. Some missions. Him, her, and Patel, right? And now he has a media lady. That's Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj. Recent news, they're gonna put this too, probably with Trump. They're talking about the Epstein files once again, like I said. And now they're trying to put two rappers in there. Do you see this is crazy? We're talking about Nicki Minaj. She's a big rapper who has beef with Lemon. And now they're talking about Jay-Z allegedly and Pusha T are in Epstein files. Like you mentioned, someone said Diddy just recently. Now they're trying to mix all these. It's funny, hip hop and politics all in one. It's such a coincidence that they're mixing hip hop and politics, and now this guy Don Lemon from CNN. It's crazy. It's a distraction though for what they're doing with the undocumented people with the ICE. Now they're saying ICE has to wear cameras. They want them to take off the masks. They're forcing them, right? They want to force them to take off their mask and wear cameras. That's a danger for the ICE. Either way, like on their side, what they're doing, you don't want to make people know who you are. Maybe a body cam, but the mask, if once you take off that mask and people know who you are, that's dangerous for the ICE, right? Nicki Minaj is a tool, mate. Yes, yes, I know that. I've been saying that. It's all started with Obama, and that's how hip hop got into politics. Yeah, kind of with Obama and a little bit with Bill Clinton. People used to always, Bill Clinton was on the Arsenio Hall show. They called him the first black president jokingly back in the days, if you remember that. Unless the church had explicit signage stating congregation members only, he could be on the premises until trespass. He will win this case. So he's saying Don Lemon's going to win this case, right? Don Lemon's going to win this case. They're calling it the opposite way, that he interfered, right, with the First Amendment. And then he's trying to use the same thing. So he better hope it's the same judge fighting for him right now. He needs it. Yeah, Bubble Bill. He needs that same judge to fight for him. Because if it ain't the same judge, he'll go to jail, right? They want to give a good example to go to jail. You talk about the government on ICE or whatever you're trying to cover in America, it's not the same anymore. No freedom of press. No freedom of press, right? They want to oppress you. So do you guys agree with what's going on with Don Lemon? Because more's to come. More is to come. Do you guys agree with Don Lemon? Or do you agree with Trump? Which one? Who do you agree with? Because he says he's gonna fight. One, for if you agree with Don. Two, if you don't. One, if you agree with Don. Two, if you don't. He's saying he's putting up the fight, man. He's gonna call out Donald Trump more. I guarantee he wants to go to I don't know if he wants to go to prison again, but I guarantee he's gonna call out Donald Trump. Okay. He's going to call out Donald Trump. Don was suppressing and was asked to leave. What? Yeah, okay. So he was asked to leave because remember, the head of that church, the pastor's ICE. The head of that church is ICE, works for ICE. So that's what's going on. The head of that church works for ICE. But Nikki, this is part of it, man. This is the beef. She was just on there yesterday with Donald Trump. Don't you guys remember? Hugging, holding hands, right? So this is the beef. What happened before all of this, right? She called him out for that incident in Minnesota. And then, last night, they came for him. They came for him. Patel came for him, indicting him. No joke. So, listen, Don, he knows what he's doing too. Like, this is a sacrifice for him because he wants to get back in the game. We understand he wants to get back in the game. Now, will he have the civil rights people come helping him? Is he going to get any of the black civil rights people? I want to see that. Don Lemon is just a podcaster, no longer a reporter, just wants to be in the spotlight. You're right. You're right. I didn't check out his podcast, but I'm definitely going to check out his podcast. But this is going to make him controversial. Oh, I got locked up. I fought the government and all shit. Let me read what he's saying, Carpe Diem. If he goes to jail, if it would destroy fundamental rights granted by the Constitution, and the repercussions would create never seen precedent regarding the First Amendment. Not sure any judge would. That's going to be interesting. Let's see how this plays out because Donald Trump era is different. Don is doing tummy time in jail right now. He's out of jail now. He got out. He got out. He's not in jail anymore. I think Nikki has her own motive, and it's not liking. It's not liking Trump. She needs him for her husband essay situation. Yes, it could be that her and her husband. It could be that too, and her brother too. That too, 100%. But she got to play good. Don is in heaven in jail. Don is in heaven. He's not in jail anymore, man. He got released on bond just Friday evening, right? The charges will get thrown out. So some people think the charges are going to get thrown out. A lot of people think the charges are going to get thrown out, right? They arrested him, right? And later on, I'm going to tell you who else Donald Trump wants to arrest. You won't believe who he wants to arrest if you hold on. He's on a path of arresting people. And this guy's very important who he wants to arrest. And he has documents too who he wants to arrest. No, it's not that Trump pardon state or local charges. federal law, but he wants to charge everybody. Like Don is just one of them, right? There's more to come. There's more to come, right? Like um, Nicki Minaj, she talked and she got her wishes. She got her golden card, right? Or whatever her residency, or she's permanent in America, and she actually got something else. She got this guy who was beefing with her locked up, right? Locked up. Nikki can't get help unless they're federally charged. What? Nikki can't get help unless they're federally charged. We shall see what her brothers are on. I don't know what her brothers fully charged. Well, her brother does have a charge, I swear, and the husband was charged, and he's out now, right? He's out now. But either way, she's the mouthpiece for Donald Trump. So this guy Don Lemon, you better be careful, because that this Trump administration, they don't care who you are. They're going after everybody, and he's going after a big fish next. I don't know if you guys have the update who he wants to lock up, but he wants to lock up somebody very important that a lot of people love. Well, if you play stupid games, you'll win stupid prizes. He can only pardon if federal. Man, Don, make sure you don't do talk anymore about the ice. Don't go to no more ice events. Don't go to. He's lucky they didn't shoot him. He's lucky they did not shoot him because he was in a church. He's lucky, because if he wasn't in the church, they probably would have shot him, right? So he's so desperate for, I guess, the clout, because I didn't even know he was fired 4 years ago from CNN. I thought he was still working at CNN. You see how time goes by so fast, right? This guy was a big guy on CNN, got fired 4 years ago, and now he's back in the spotlight. Sorry, but what was Nikki's family members charged with? Not familiar. With underage, being with underage people. That's what Nikki's brother and her husband was. Well, the husband was charged with something like that. I don't know if the brother's still going through it. I think he is locked up though. Who wants to lock up a very different? Okay, so right now, I'll say before I go talk about that. Um, Donald Trump wants to lock up. Guess who? Guess who he wants to lock up? Don will like it in the pokey. Yeah, but he's not locked up. He's out. He got the money. This was all a show to me. He wanted to see test the waters, right? He said the First Amendment. I got that. But someone told me in the church he has no right in the church. So he's testing. He doesn't give a damn about the church. He does not respect the church. Obviously, he does not respect the First Amendment. That's what they're saying, that he broke, he interfered with that. So what? He doesn't respect that. Please keep the conversation intellectual. He doesn't respect the First Amendment. Respect, 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 JR. Yes, he doesn't respect the First Amendment. That's what they're saying. That he interfered with us in that situation. And that's why they charged him the 18th. But the judge in that case, right, the magistrate, did not want to charge him. They did not want to charge him, but guess what? The government, the FBI, whoever, they didn't want like that. They didn't like that judgment. They didn't want to charge him in the beginning. But Trump went after him. That's where I'm getting. They did not want to charge Don in the beginning, but Trump went after this brother. Right? So now, either way, it works for Don. He was playing the game right. It works for him because what he could afford the bail. He could afford the bail. He got the money, right? But either way, he had to pay, right? Pay to play. So happy he finally got arrested. So you don't like Don, right? Don Lemon's a goofball. I heard a lot of people don't like him. I think they all talk behind the scenes, pal. Yep, yep, yep. They make deals with each other. A Los Angeles grand jury indicted Don. So it's a Los Angeles, not Minnesota. So it's Los Angeles. I'm mad at Don Lemon because MAGA told me to be mad. You're joking, right? Nobody got him out. Nobody got him out. Some people are saying that it's a judge just released him. I seen bond. I seen posted of a bond. Trump is prejudice. Okay, so whatever. He is a journalist. What about his First Amendment rights? So this is a battle, people. This is a battle against the First Amendment rights, and this is a battle with journalism. This is going to change a lot of shit in America right now. This whole case, I think he wanted this, right? He wants the spotlight, but he's testing the waters, this man. Because right now, it's against his First Amendment, but right, reverse, the government saying that he interfered and he done something against the First Amendment. See? You see how it's going? It's going back and forth. Both people are fighting about the same shit, right? Send Don Lemon to Madagascar. You can't. What he did. He was interfering in people's constitution, allows you to practice your faith without your rights being violated. So he was violating the people at the church. Don Lemon hurt my feelings, even though he has no offense. Oh, you're joking around. Yeah, so he was interfering with the church. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have interfered with the church, Don. You shouldn't have interfered with the church. And that's why Nikki came out on you. That's why Nikki called you all types of stuff. And then he came back and brought up Nikki's dirt. And then you got arrested Thursday night, right? So this is going to continue because he's trying to make this historical. He's trying to say, yo, I'm a journalist, right? And my rights was like, look at my rights. So he's trying to talk for all journalists now, right? And he's been fired for what 4 years ago. So this is like revenge. Like he's trying to test the waters right now. He doesn't care. Even being thrown in jail, he will test everything. Pastors are more evil than Don any day. Imagine if Trump let that fly, it would affect a lot of people's lives. Don the Con, another UC. Oh, okay. Smollett. I see what you mean. Smollett. Yeah, Don Lemon makes me. Okay. Either way, the next guy who Trump wants to arrest like this, similar, guess who it is, right? I'm going to just put it through and come back later to this guy who he wants to go for because he's on a spree right now, right? He wants to go for Mr. Obama. Now he wants to lock up the former president for conspiracy. He wants to lock up he wants to lock up Obama for conspiracy. This guy. You hear that? He wants to lock Obama up for conspiracy with the Russians, saying that he with his last elections, that this guy was spreading all types of shit, setting up all types of stuff. That's an example of what I'm saying with the Don Lemon, right? I'll get back to that. I'll get back to that. But that's to show you how they're coming. They're coming after a lot of people, yo. No freedom of speech exists. No freedom of speech exists. No freedom of speech exists. It's Trump. It's Trump talk. He says a lot of things. No freedom of speech exists. So now this guy spent the whole. Well, they're saying he didn't spend any money. People are saying that he got bailed. All right, he got bailed out of shit. You have no right to interfere with the people worshiping you. Believe in the right to practice your religion. So you're saying he interfered with people practicing their religion. Don was interfering with people practicing their religion. Not good, Don. That's what they're gonna accuse him with, and saying that the First Amendment and he interfered with their practices. But there was protests going on at the church, wasn't there? Wasn't there anti-protest against the ICE? Weren't they protesting there? Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that going on? Right? What happened to Minneapolis? Free speech? No free speech. Not what he done. People are saying interfering with basically a church in the church, going in the church. He loses that amendment because he went into the church. He loses that right. How much of Americans know that? Because he went into the church, he loses that right. It's not like he was outside. They're saying if he was outside doing it, yes. But because he went into the church, it's a different thing, right? Oh, wow. Don Lemon did nothing to. He went into the church. he loses that amendment. So church is very powerful. It's very strong. The church. He shouldn't. It's against the law, so he broke the law. There it is. So all the Don Lemon supporters, he broke the law. Support sent. I'm live with a big YouTube. Bless up. How spelt Mark? Yep, yep. Bless up. But yeah, where this is gonna continue. This is going to continue to who's next. Remember, I keep saying who's next, and it's gonna be Obama. The next person is going to be Obama. He already has him lined up, right? This guy was lined up by Nikki, right? Obama is next. Whoever has dirt and think they're going to talk about Trump or the ICE, they're next. People need to read the First Amendment. He did not break the law. Whoo! So people, this Tariq Mason is saying you need to read all the First Amendment. He did not break the law. He did not break the law. It's in the Constitution, nothing to do with the church. Okay. So you say doing Lemon is the aggressor. Who's the First Amendment right should be honored here? Probably the victim with the traumatized children. So he was doing something around children, right? Interfering. That don't sound good. That don't sound good. That don't sound good at all, Don. So what Don says he's gonna fight this. He came out of the jail and said, I'm going to fight this. He was talking about the freedom of speech, the freedom of press. But some people are saying in the church, it's against the law to do that. That's why I'm saying people are saying this right now on the live chat. They're saying it's against the law to go to in the church like he did. So he has no right. And then people are saying in the Constitution, where does it say that? This is a fight. Imagine if it says this in the Constitution that what he done is all right, and then the church is saying one thing. There's a confusion. Maybe people have to rewrite that shit, right? Don didn't interfere. See, some people are saying Don didn't interfere. People have the right to practice their religion without being terrorized or people worship or of people worshiping. So, damn man, Don knows what he was doing. 100% he knows what he's doing because this is stirring the pot. He's stirring the pot a lot, people, and he doesn't care. There is no confusion. Don is going to win so much money in a lawsuit. Oh, you think so? You think in the Trump era, Don is going to win? I want to see this. I want to see this. Maybe after Trump is finished being the president, that might happen. Maybe after. It's called the FACE Act. Okay. So I think even if he was to win this, it's going to take a while. He's not going to win it fast. Guarantee he won't win it when Trump's there. Or it's going to be a fight, right? Because Trump is the one who called him a loser. Donald Trump called this guy a loser, right? Because in response to whatever he was doing in Minnesota. Lo, he walked into a church. Yes, he walked into a church, and right now they're criticizing him for that, right? They're criticizing him for that. See, this is what it is, right? The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1791 as part of the Bill of Rights. So you see that? Free exercise, speech, press, assembly, and petition guarantees the individual right to express ideas associated with others. Petition the government without fear of censorship or retaliation. So where's the religion? Restricted to five. Okay, so interesting, interesting, interesting. This guy, I didn't see nothing about religion unless there's a different. We gotta look that up. It don't matter what Trump says. He's not a lawyer or a judge. Well, are you for real though? This guy's doing anything he wants. He's not asking nobody for at all, Mr. Trump. Does it matter nowadays? Doesn't matter. He doesn't go by the law, Trump. He's not going by the laws. He's not going by any rules. He's breaking rules every day. So it doesn't matter really the Constitution or whatever shit's going on. They locked him up. They locked him up. Don Lemon is well-educated journalist. He doesn't need to spotlight. He's very well-known independent journalist, and he has freedom. Yes, he is, but he got fired 4 years ago from a corporation, and he became an independent journalist. Right? The FACE Act rule. Don coordinated with his group and went in and interacted with the group to be journalists. Among the crime, you have to be explicitly passive. He wasn't. He interacted. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. Trump says a lot of things. Okay, I see what you're saying. So he done more than just went in. He kind of done extra, as you want to say, right? Extra. Doesn't give him the right to walk in a private facility and disrupt the church service. That's kind of true still, what you're saying. Any journalist can't just go into a church, right? If even just say there's an event going on and somebody famous was at the church and stuff, you can't just put yourself there. Some security, or they might all call police on you, and you'll get locked up anywhere. It's kind of true. Still, like, what makes Don special? Just because he's a journalist, that he could go into this church. Because if it was a no-name guy, they still would probably do the same shit too, right? They still would do that. So yesterday, like I said, let's put the pieces to the puzzle. You had Nicki Minaj with Donald Trump, right? And Nicki Minaj does not like Mr. Don. Nicki Minaj probably said, Donald, could you please arrest that guy for what he has done? Because she was talking a lot of shit about him, right? Mr. President, could you lock this man up, right? Because he's talking about me. He's talking about me. He's talking about me nasty. He's talking about my husband. He's talking about my brother and stuff, right? I don't like him. And if they're even Trump says, yo, that he's a loser, right? So guess what? They get Cash Patel after him. They get Cash Patel after him. Going straight after him is the FBI. Thursday night. He said they got him in the night. That's what Don said he got arrested. He was like, surprised. He's saying like he was surprised. They got him in the night. It doesn't matter about him being fired, especially when black oftentimes when you are doing the right thing and speak up for your right, feathers get ruffled. I'm just saying he got fired. He like I didn't know he got fired 4 years ago. I thought he was actually very popular, very good at what he done, but listen, he wants to get back. You're saying he's famous, he's known. Yes, he's known, but to get more out there in the spotlight above all the other journalists, let me do something what no journalist is gonna do. Go to this church and cover an event of people protesting against the ICE and the immigration, right? Guess who is the pastor of that church? That same church. That's the wrong church he went to. It was a ICE member. The pastor works for ICE. So you're going to that church to, in other way, disrespect the church and that pastor. And that pastor probably said, "No way, too. No, hell no, Donald. This guy, he broke some type of law. Let's go after him and arrest him." So he said, what the F is wrong, even wrong, walking into an open church? I think what was wrong with it, he was doing journalism, which they didn't appreciate. Obviously, they didn't appreciate it because January 18th, he went into, he was indicted, right, for the First Amendment, right, and interfering with people. So that's what happened. It doesn't matter that the church the same outcome. So people are saying he's gonna fight this, he's gonna get rich off of this, right? He's gonna fight this when? When? He will fight this now and he won't win until Trump is done being the president, right? You're not allowed to initiate a church or disrupt someone's religious rights. Yes, yes, it's true. Was private property. Yep, he wasn't allowed. It's like you're right. You can't just go on private property and do any type of media. It's true. It's actually true, and he's famous. What you're saying, he's actually known, so he's more spotlight and amplified there. So it's not like it was a nobody. Like you get what I mean. Just recording, he came there, and he brought the spotlight, which they didn't not like, and now he's still charged, even though he's out on, if you want to call it bail or bond. They say he's out on bail or bond, whatever it is. But either way, he got charged with it. Either way, he's still fighting. Right or wrong, he's still fighting. And this is just going to make more conversation on freedom of speech and freedom of media, freedom of press. This is just uh, going to make a lot of journalists talk. They should talk, because if not just him, anyone else go out there like Don, right? They're gonna feel the same fate. Like they're gonna say, "Will I get locked up? Will I get locked up for?" Maybe you should learn the rules, right? Learn the rules. You can't go to a church where people are worshiping, and you will not get locked up. But then other people are saying that it's the First Amendment, like he was saying, freedom of speech. But the confusion is going into a private property and something like a church and saying that doesn't go, that law is not there, right? Saying he done something against the law. They're saying he done something against the law, Mr. Don, right? So where does this go from here? It's going to make him more popular, even though he's going to be going through this case. He's already famous, like somebody said in the chat, but it's going to make people who don't know who Don is more famous, right? And will he keep talking about Nicki Minaj? I wonder. Maybe not, because she'll probably do something like Drake is doing, right? Defamation of character. That's the next thing what's going to come to Don. The defamation of character. Soon that's what's going to come from Nicki. But Nicki called him something, so it's kind of crazy. See what she called him? See what she called him? Nicki Minaj sparks backlash after calling Don Lemon a homophobic slur over Minnesota church incident. You see that? She doesn't like him a one bit. And then he went back, like I said, said some nasty stuff about her husband and about her brother and about her status in America, too. That's why it's such a coincidence. Yesterday, she got that golden card because he was talking about, aren't you illegal? You're a hypocrite talking about the whole incident in Minnesota. Nicki Minaj, aren't you a legal person in the country? Right? So he brought that dirt up. And when he brought that dirt up, it got nasty, more nastier. So, yo, she used him as an example. Nikki is an example of freedom of speech. Oh, Lee, freedom of speech. Yeah, she really done her freedom, saying he was a bad word name, right? She said he was a bad word, right? And even Trump called him a loser. Donald Trump called him a loser, and more words. So you got Donald Trump targeting him. You got Nikki, the bulldog, out there for Donald Trump. Any other celebrity who think they're going to talk bad about Donald Trump is going to face the same fate, right, people? It's going to face the same fate. And he's not finished. Like Donald's on a mission to arrest the whole, to shame more people, to lock them up. He's on a mission to lock a whole bunch of other people up, even if they come out of jail. Remember what I said. Any celebrity, and he's a celebrity, Don. Yeah, like you're saying, any celebrity who talks against Donald Trump is going to face something, right? Get locked up. But this guy, he was in an ICE situation in the ICE city. It's like the other day with the other two individuals who passed away. They were at an event that's amplified, protest, and they got their lives taken away because of the atmosphere. Like it or not, they got their lives taken away because of the atmosphere. Now this guy, Don, is lucky he didn't die. The only thing what saved his ass was he was at a church. So if it was somewhere else, maybe he might have got the same fate like the other two. right or wrong. But instead, later, he got indicted. He got indicted. So no freedom of speech for the journalists. Trump says a lot of things and sees what sticks. Yes, he does. And look, imagine they're knocking at your door and they take you in, arrest you in the nighttime, spend the night in prison, right? And after then they're saying, what did I do? What did I do, Don Lemon? Oh, the First Amendment. You interfered with the First Amendment. And so you went to that church and you done some things what was unlawful. So we're locking you up with the handcuffs in the night. Just say if it was 10 o'clock in the night. They took him and he was locked up all night in prison, right? All night in prison, all through the day until recently he came out. So he's trying to compare this to the 1960s. Now he's trying to compare this. Don Lemon is comparing this to the 1960s civil rights. He's comparing the whole thing with the ICE and going to uh, coverage with the media to the 1960s civil rights. This is what he brought up. Don, I don't know what you guys think about that, but he's bringing up the civil rights shit too. Don, this is a fight. I don't know how. It's funny that his name is Don, right? And then there's Donald Trump. Don, both Dons, right? Both Dons going back and forth because that's what it really is. It's Donald Trump behind the scenes who sent Cash Patel to go arrest him and shame him. That's what it is. He arrested him and shamed him. It wasn't the First Amendment. The FACE Act protects places like churches. So the FACE Act, people, as GMAA 67 Flatterson says, it was the FACE Act, right? It wasn't the First Amendment. The FACE Act protects places like churches. So he went against the FACE Act. He wants to put the First Amendment in front of the FACE Act. He doesn't want to go by that act. He's looking over that act, and he doesn't want to go by that. That's what it seems like. He doesn't want to go by that. So journalists, don't go to the churches. Be careful if you go to a church, especially with the ICE protest. Right now, all over America, there's protests going more and more and more against the ICE. They want the ICE to show their faces, and after then, they want them to have cameras on them, body cams. But showing their faces won't be a good thing. I don't think so. It won't be a safe job for them, right? Will not be a safe job. Hi, God bless all. Yes, it won't be a safe job for them if they have to show their faces. Do you really want to show your face as an ICE agent? Maybe that will make a lot of them not do certain things. Don isn't the brightest bulb. He probably didn't know about the law. You're right. As smart as they might say he is, he probably thought, oh, my First Amendment. But he didn't know about the FACE Act. I heard about it. I could Google this FACE Act right now as I talk, right? But first, I'm going to read what it's called New York Times, what they were saying, right? New York Times. Without bond over Minnesota protest charge. So it's without bond, right? It's really without bond. Three others were also arrested on charges that they had violated federal law during the demonstration this month, reviving a case that was rejected last week by the magistrate judge, right? The former CNN anchor Don Lemon and three other people arrested on charges that they violated federal law during a protest at the church at St. Paul, Minnesota, were released on Friday after initial court hearings. The charges against Mr. Lemon, a second journalist, and two protesters came on the heels of their indictment by a grand jury in the federal district court in Minnesota. They were charged with a conspiracy to deprive the congregants of church and the church of their rights and to interfere with religious freedom in a house of worship, reviving a case that was rejected last week by a magistrate judge. The indictment also named three other demonstrators who took part in the action. The city's church at the city's church on January 18th, and were taken into custody. a little over a week ago after being charged with an initial criminal complaint. The prosecution faced back pushback from the defense lawyers on the First Amendment groups, given that political process sits at the center of the indictment and that Mr. Lemon and other journalists who was charged, George Fort, have said they entered the church to cover a demonstration against Trump's administration immigration crackdown in the area. See? Late Friday afternoon, Mr. Lemon appeared in court at a federal building in downtown Los Angeles. So it was Los Angeles, not Minnesota. You're right, people. It was Los Angeles. So late Friday afternoon, Mr. Lemon appeared in a court at a federal building downtown Los Angeles wearing a white suit. Lawyers for the government sought 100,000 bond and asked to restrict Mr. Lemon's travel to Minneapolis. So they don't want him to go to Minneapolis. $100,000 bond the government asked for, right? To face the charges and to New York where he lives. A magistrate judge denied both those requests. So the judge denied both those requests. I have spent my entire career covering the news, Mr. Lemon told the reporters outside the federal building after he was released. I will not stop now. There is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for free independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. He added, I look forward to my day in court. So he looks forward to his day in court. The 14-page indictment describes the preparation for the protest, nicknamed Operation Pull Up by its organizers, that sounded not unlike those that might precede many demonstrations. It quoted one of the organizers, Nakima Levi Armstrong, as saying that the demonstrators planned to disrupt business as usual and wanted to keep their plans under wraps. As the pastor of the church, David Eastwood, who also serves as an immigration and custom enforcement officer, began his sermon. Miss Armstrong interrupted with a loud declaration that the time for judgment has come. An indictment said other protesters yelled and blew whistles. What the indictment somewhat dramatically describes as a takeover attack on the church. Oh, you see all that shit, all that drama? At one point, the indictment said Mr. Eastwood and members of the congregation perceived hostile gestures made by the protesters as threats of violence and potential prelude a mass shooting. At another point, it said that Mr. Lemon and Miss Ford, the two journalists, largely surrounded Mr. Eastwood and peppered him with questions. So remember, he is a pastor, and you're kind of like harassing him with questions. So you did interfere with a church affair, like it or not. You did interfere, Lemon, with questions, describing the episode as an attempt to oppress and intimidate him. Just because he's an ICE agent or whatever, you can't do that. He's a pastor. You can't do that. I see. After the incident, Justice Department drafted a criminal complaint to charge a total of 8 people, including Mr. Lemon. But the federal magistrate judge who reviewed the evidence approved charges against only 3 of the people, Mr. Levi Armstrong, Chantilly Allen, and William Kelly. He refused to sign the arrest warrants for Mr. Lemon and others, citing insufficient evidence. The Justice Department then petitioned the Federal Appeals Court to force the chief judge in Federal District Court in Minneapolis to issue additional warrants, only to be denied. So they were denied. The indictment, unsealed on Friday, named 4 other defendants: Tehran and Jean Cruz, activist who was the leader in the Black Lives Matter movement, and Jamal Lundy. 2 other protesters, Jerome D'Angelo and Richardson, and Ian Davis Austin, were also charged. So people from the Black Lives Matter, I don't trust that movement. That's kind of shady still, right? That's kind of shady, kind of still. Let me read your stuff. Trespassing on a church property during a sermon. You can't do that. Which is not protesting, as there is no permit for what it is, a violation of other people's right to worship. Yes, and they were like on this guy. They were asking him all types of questions, everything. Like they wouldn't leave him alone. right? There's so much of this stuff. Now, as I read it, it doesn't look like Don was really right. It doesn't seem that Don was really right, because if I never heard that he was bothering, basically questioning the the pastor, that, and he, just because he works for ICE. So either way, the pastor or what who he works for, they use that against Don, right? They use that against Don. You can't do that. Don Lemon was taken into custody by federal agents last night in Los Angeles, where he was covering the Grammy Awards. Woo! You see that, how he where they got how they got him? You see how they got him? Covering the Grammy Awards. So let me read this shit. You see how they use the media? Don Lemon was taken into custody by federal agents last night in Los Angeles, where he was covering the Grammy Awards. Mr. Lowell said in a statement on Friday morning, Don has been a journalist for 30 years and is constitutionally protected to work in Minneapolis. Was no different than what he has always done, right? Because he doesn't work for CNN anymore or anybody. He's an independent journalist. They're attacking him 100%. Mr. Lowell added, this unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention the many from the many crises facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. So let me read this again, right? Mr. Law added, this unprecedented attack on the First Amendment, transparent attempt to distract attention from many cries, faces the administration. It's crazy, right? In the larger fight over the White House, hardline immigration crackdown in Minnesota, the Justice Department has pushed hard to charge people who participate or were at the church protests. The administration has also used aggressive tactics against the defendants after her arrest. Man, this is crazy. Listen, the man's trying all types of tactics, right? I'm saying Donald Trump, the government, they're trying all types of tactics to to quiet the media, right? They want to quiet the media talking against him, right? They want to quiet the media journalists, and it's starting with TikTok. They're coming for people on TikTok, right? 100%. D2E's in here. Donald Duck. That's why Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump. It's crazy. It's crazy. Donald Trump is doing a lot of things. D2E's in here. That's my brother up in here. But yeah, Nicki Minaj got what she wanted, right? You see? Nicki Minaj, she got what she wanted. TikTok, Nicki Minaj got what she wanted. You see this? You see what Nicki done, right? You see what Nicki done? She got what she wanted. It's all connected. It's all connected. Pat, Jaguar, you crazy. Well, it's going crazy now in America. It's going crazy. First Amendment, whatever you guys are saying, it's going crazy. This guy, journalist, right, arrested. So, how much more journalists will get arrested for interfering? That's what I want to know. Who's next? Who's next? Who is next? My brother saying, you crazy if you support the duck. That's Donald Duck. That's what he calls him, Donald Duck, right? D2E. And people, please subscribe. Please subscribe. Yes, Donald Trump's on a mission to lock up more people. He wants to lock up Obama. That's the recent news. He wants to lock up Mr. Obama, the ex president, for probably conspiracy too. So Don Lemon, it was conspiracy. That's what they said too. It was conspiracy and interfering, right, with the First Amendment. So him going to the church and talking to the pastor, questioning him, it's against the law, I guess, right? It's against the law. It's against the law. So he said, you need TDS is strong in you. What's his name? Pat Jaguar. D2E. You see him? Says the MAGA cult coward. You guys go back and forth. You guys go back and forth. Right now, Mr. MAGA got somebody locked up. It was him. He got the journalist locked up. So any other journalist who want to talk about Donald Trump is going to be a target. 100%. Any other journalist who talks about Donald Trump will be a target. They're going to dig up the dirt. If you have any dirt, you better pay your taxes, right? Or he's coming for you. Pat Jaguar, yes, you are. Exactly what you just mentioned. You are. And you're still here. But guess what? I got D2E to deal with you, right? D2E podcast. D2E podcast. You see what Pat Jaguar is talking some garbage, right? So right now, Don Lemon is trying to fight for the journalists. He says he's trying to fight for freedom of speech. He's using this as an example, right? He's using this as an example, like it or not. He's using this as an example of what's going on with the Trump administration. He wants to show people what could happen, but you were at the church still. Like you were questioning the pastor. Just because the pastor is ICE doesn't mean you could just go up in the church and start questioning him. He says that was like, he felt intimidated. He felt that that you were it was against his rights. That's what he's saying. He's trying to make himself relevant again. I believe so. I agree with that, Philly. I think that Don Lemon is trying to make himself relevant again. Um, he was basically arrested after the Grammys. He was arrested after the Grammys, right? Yes, Pat needs a patty cake. He does. Yes, D2E. Pat needs a patty cake. Yes, he's trying to be relevant again. And please subscribe, Pat. Please subscribe. Yes, he's trying to be relevant again, Mr. Don. I don't like it or not, he's relevant. This is going viral. It's going to go viral all weekend. It's going to go viral all through the week. And for sure, people are going to bring up Nicki Minaj. 100% people will bring up Nicki Minaj. Okay? And they're going to still be talking about Trump and Nicki Minaj holding hands and her getting her gold card, right? This guy called her out saying that she's an immigrant. I mean, she's a illegal. Don said that Nicki was a illegal, right? So he brought up Nicki Minaj, and Nicki Minaj fired back and called him out for the protest at the church. She was one of the first big voices to talk about it. Again, your rights do not supersede anybody else's right in the Constitution. That's the whole point of it. So people are saying that he broke the law going into the church, interrupting the church with what he was doing. She went in the Oval Office and got extra credit. Yeah, she got in. I seen that. Nicki Minaj went to the Oval Office, got extra credit, and she put $300,000 into the government's hand. So that's why Don, she paid her way. Done. She paid her way. And then they took some money. I think you had to pay. I think you're paying for this shit. Like it or not. You might like it, but I think you're paying for this shit. Right? You almost paid for it. You almost paid for it. Excuse me. You almost paid for it. Because the government wanted him to pay $100,000 bond or something like that. And I guess he didn't have to do that. Right? I guess he didn't have to do that, Don. Right? Money talks. Yeah, money talks. You're right. You just because your life Pat Jar whatever, you probably do suck because you're on here, right? He's broke the law, and so did the rioters who walked into the church. I said this already, and he's an amplified figure. He's actually known. If you put yourself in the atmosphere, what's going on with the ice, right? If you put yourself in that, look, don't be surprised what happens to you. Don't be surprised. You're going to a protest. The other day, someone brought a weapon, right? Someone brought a weapon, and then they were unalived by the ice. They brought a weapon, or they said he had a weapon. I'm not saying he brought a weapon, but they said this individual had a weapon, and his life was taken away from him. And that person's not a celebrity. Don is a celebrity going to whatever they say, a protest, right? And it doesn't help. You got this girl with Donald Trump. Doesn't help that she, not too long ago, was talking with this guy, and she doesn't like Don, and she called out Don, and Don called her saying she's illegal. So why are you supporting Trump? He's saying, why are you supporting Trump? Why are you supporting what he's doing with the ICE? And you are illegal yourself. And then, they went back and forth, all types of words. I can't say the word what she used on Don, but she used profanity on Don. She said some dirty stuff about him. Yeah, yeah, yep. You don't bring a gun to ICE party. Well, you don't bring a gun. That guy shouldn't have even had a gun. Like, even if he's a gun holder, he thought he had the right, right? I could bring a gun. It's my right. So people are fighting that fight too. They're saying, yo, it's his right. But come on, you're bringing it to a amplified event, or, you know where you are, right? God rest his soul. But that's what happened to him. But Nicki Minaj and that guy was going beefing, and she brought up dirt about her husband. That's what hit her. That Don brought up dirt about her husband and her brother. So guess what? Not too long after, right after the Grammys, after his fun time, they came for him and they arrested him. Right? They came for him and locked him up. I used to be a Democrat. Trump is one good president. See, someone used to be a Democrat, but Trump now is a good president. He's a good president to many people, right? Not now. So not now. Listen, the thing about I like about Trump, this is one thing I'll say because I'm not biased, is that he is raw and unfiltered. He's more honest than a lot of these presidents who will act like they're all good, but then they're bad. Then they're doing a lot of shit behind the scenes. Like Obama, I heard Obama, he had the ICE going after people. I heard Obama had the ICE going after people when he was in charge. I heard a couple people. What they said, 58 people died, right? From the ICE when Obama was in charge. Correct me if I'm wrong. They said that 58 people. So it's just a lot of people don't know because that's old news. Everybody's talking about Trump, so they're saying Obama had situations with the ICE, but no one's talking. Now they're kind of digging that up, but no one's really talking about that. No one's really talking about that with the ICE, right? MAGA. Yep, MAGA. If you like MAGA, no, it's your choice. Like I said, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Canadians don't even want Canada, man. No worries, y'all. Safe. Yeah, man. Recent news with that shit. Donald's trying to put out a lot of shit. He's not too smart, man. Even though he does some shit, he's not too smart because he's on a other tip. He's trying to punish people, but it's hurting Americans at the same time. So meanwhile, he's putting these tariffs. People in America are losing jobs, right? He's not thinking, man. Like, he wants to sacrifice people, but he doesn't give a damn, right? Because he's after everybody. He's after everybody. He wants to go after Obama, and this guy's just an example. Don is just one example. You got big brother protecting your sunshine. You can say that again. Philly, bless up what you're saying. But right now, this guy wants to make history. That's the thing. I think it's part for Spotlight. 100%. I think this Don done it for Spotlight. He wanted to break a big story. Who was gonna go to any lengths he could, even if he was breaking people's rights and shit like that. He wanted to use the First Amendment to fight against the FACE Act, right? So he's trying to not see that other law for the people in church and just use freedom of speech. I'm a journalist, but when I seen the details, is that he was questioning the pastor. He was questioning him, like asking him questions, like he was kind of like, the guy did not want no part of him, right? Like he was kind of, harassing him. That's what it seemed like, that he was harassing the pastor, and because he knows the pastor is an ICE member, right? He's orange. Looks like Lemon. Lemon broke the law. So he did break the law. When you look it up, and people are saying he's gonna win this, and he's gonna have all type of money. That's what people are saying. He's gonna win this and get a whole bunch of money from it. Really, really, I think the money he's gonna get, he hopes he get, is a contract from a corporation, because how is he gonna win if he broke the law? How is he going to win? People are saying if it was outside, that would be different. But he went into a church, right, with the media and was questioning the pastor. The pastor did not feel comfortable. It's a private property, right? And this pastor works for the government. The pastor basically works for the government. And you are in there doing that. So that's going to be a fight. That is definitely going to be a fight. Yeah, he's not part of the huge media anymore, but he's still famous, like people are saying, right? They're saying he's still famous, even if he's not part of CNN. He's still known. He got his own podcast too, because Orange Man's bad. If Trump invented the cure for cancer, they would still hate him. Yeah, look, yeah, yeah. Either way, he's famous. Don is famous. He's known. He was covering the Grammys. He was covering the Grammys the other day, they're saying. And then he got arrested. Thursday night, he got arrested, right? Thursday night, he got arrested. Friday evening, they released him. And now he's free for now. He's free for now. The government wanted him to spend about 100,000, 100,000, and I guess he didn't have to pay that. But this is clout. This is big clout, or if you news for him, big news. He could have probably paid that too. He could have paid the 100,000. That's why the government was after him, saying, "Yo, they wanted to get that 100,000." Oh, he's getting major publicity. Yes, he's getting major publicity. He don't care. Yes, you're right. You're right. What you're saying, red team go. Yes, he's getting major publicity. He's getting a lot of promo right now. He doesn't give a damn. 100%, he don't give a damn. He's getting a lot right now. But Nicki Minaj, either way, even though he's getting the publicity, it's a fight, because she kind of saying, she's laughing behind the scenes like, yeah, yeah, I got you. You thought you could talk about me a certain way? Look what happened to you. They put you in handcuffs. And after they put you in handcuffs, see, she got them to put him in handcuffs. Either way, he lost against Nicki. That there's a fight, their own fight right now, right? If you read what she said about him, she talked dirty about him, right? Very dirty. She talked very dirty about him, and then he returned with a, saying dirty shit about, like, dirty stuff about her. Mugshot of dirty stuff about her, right? A lot of dirty stuff he was talking about. Brought up her husband and her brother. And after then, you know what happened? Mr. Trump and her were talking behind the scenes, and Trump, you're my number. I'm your number one fan. I'm your number one fan, right? So she got two things. Two things. Her gold card she got, right? She got her gold card, her freedom now that she's in America. She's not gonna get deported or whatever. And she got the guy who was talking about her arrested, even though he's out. Still got him arrested. So she won in her head. She won, right? Trump is laughing because he called him a loser too, and this guy was talking about Trump too, so he called him a loser. He actually got his government agent Cash Patel to go, orchestrate this arrest. So it was successful. It was very successful. But now, on the other hand, Mr. Don, you're right. Someone said maybe behind the scenes they're all talking. I don't know about that, but Mr. Don got what he wanted. He got that attention. Mr. Don is relevant now. Mr. Don will probably get a job from some corporation that are Democrats, right? I know the Republicans got that money, but maybe there's a Democrat out there who might, like a Democrat organization, media organization, that might pick him up right now. Like he's a free agent. He's a free agent now, but maybe he's kind of working up to getting hired by a media company because he's lost his job, like I said, 4 years ago. CNN is what I know about Don Lemon. That's how I know him. I don't know him no other place but CNN. And CNN is a big, big, monster for media. And he lost that position. I wonder why. I guarantee if you look up why Don Lemon was fired from CNN, it's some controversial shit too, right? I'm going to look it up. Why did Don Lemon get fired from CNN? You got to wonder. And look now, he's in the he's in the spotlight. The guy got fired. Don Lemon, right? Fired from CNN. Why did he get fired? So it was 2023. Some people said 2022. On April 24th, 2023, Lemon was fired by CNN. His contract would have expired in 2026. It would have expired now, right? According to New York Times, CNN had experienced difficulties in booking guests willing to appear to air with Lemon, and polls had shown his popularity among viewers had declined. So they're saying because his popularity declined, they fired him. Because this stuff, what's going on, I don't know him as an independent journalist. I know him as being on CNN, right? So he was pushed out of CNN in 2023. See, the fake news you can't listen to like 2022. 2023, after 17 years at the cable network, amid criticism that he made sexist comments about women and aging. Oh, Mr. Lemon has been a longtime critic of President Trump, dating back to his first term, frequently calls the president a liar. So that's why you've been a target from a long time from Trump. A long time from Trump. What was the settlement he had? Whoa, from CNN. So this guy is a dollar man, dollars. CNN had paid Don Lemon 24.5 million in order to settle his separation deal nearly 10 months after he was fired for the sexist remarks about Nikki Haley. The comments that Lemon made on CNN this morning on February 16th enraged his co-anchors Poppy Harlow and Caitlin Collins, who then went into the bathroom. So he has a history of putting himself in some situations, man. And he got $24 million, 0.5. He's rich, even if the taxes take out whatever. This guy is rich. He made up a situation. He didn't want to be at CNN anymore. CNN has paid Don Lemon 24.5 million in order to settle his separation deal. 10 months later, he was fired. Oh, Lee. So they paid him and then they fired him for his sex remarks about Nikki Haley. No one's talking about this really. How much people know about this? I didn't really even know about this, that he said some remarks about a lady. But he's gay. I think Don Lemon's gay, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's gay. But maybe that's why he felt comfortable saying some type of remarks against a woman because he's gay. So they're going to say it's kind of confusing. If you're gay and you're saying stuff, sexist remarks against a woman, how does that case go out? So let's see. Sexist remarks about Nikki Haley, the comments that Lemon made on CNN this morning on February 16th enrages co-anchors Poppy Harlow and Caitlin Collins, who then went into the bathroom. So they went into the bathroom. They paid this guy in a lawsuit. He knows how to hustle. He's hustling, man. Come on, who's talking about this? Who's gonna bring this shit up? Sorry. 24.5 million to settle his lawsuit after being fired for making sexist comments about Nikki Haley. So he got 24 million for in his lawsuit because what? The judge didn't believe he said anything about the lady? Or whoever, right? 24 million in order to settle his separation deal nearly 10 months after he was fired for sexual remarks about Nikki Haley. The comments that Lemon made at CNN this morning on February 16th enrages co-anchor Poppy Harlow and Caitlin Collins, who then went to the bathroom. The controversy started with a proposal Haley made during her presidential announcement speech about institute what? A mental competency test for politicians who are over 75 years old, saying that they should do a test. Are you talking about Donald Trump? Right? Haley made during her presidential announcement speech about insinuating a mental competency test for politicians who are over 75 years old. That's Donald Trump. The whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable, Lemon shared. I think it's wrong. A wrong road to go down. She says people politicians are suddenly not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. A woman is considered to be in their prime in their 20s, 30s, and maybe 40s. That's not according to me. Then he then said after Harlow responded in shock, like, man, this guy put himself in all types of shit. But he got his 24 million. He got his 24 point or 25 point, yeah, 24.5 million. Even though he got fired from CNN, he's good. 24 million. He is good. So this shit is just to put him in spotlight. This is just for attention. Straight up. He don't give a damn about no other what it's called media person. He don't care about fighting for no rights. This is for attention. He got money. He got a lot of money, right? Even if they take all the damn taxes out or whatever, he got a lot of money. He doesn't care, right? He don't care. He don't give a damn about getting arrested. That's just making him more relevant because really, man, 24.5 million. That's why this is all a show. This is all a show for us. It's a show. It makes you really wonder if you go really deep. It makes you really wonder. Like this is a show. He was defending people who are old running as politicians, right? That is Donald Trump. That's kind of weird if I'm reading it wrong, but he is saying a woman is considered to be in their prime in their 20s, 30s, and maybe their 40s. So this lady is probably older, right? He don't care. He's a rich man. The man is very rich. $24 million rich. So all this stuff is extra stuff. It's all extra stuff. This is just to keep him relevant, like someone said. Nikki Haley. Let me see how she looks. And check out a picture of how she looks. I guess, yeah, Nikki Haley, born 1972. She's about 54 years old or so. 54, right? I was born on 20th January 1972. She's an actress known for Army Wives. I didn't know that. She's an actress too? Damn. See, actors. Once again, actors. Hollywood. She was in movies, 1972. So he was making fun of her age. Don Lemon was making fun of her age. He was saying like old. She was no, I mean she was defending the something with the age, back and forth, back and forth. She's about around 55, and he was saying you're not in your prime and shit like that, going back and forth. Either way, he won. He won $24.5 million in a lawsuit because he was fired for comments. He was fired for comments. Or no, not necessarily comments. It was because of his contract situation. But that's probably part of it. He won. Don Lemon won. So even though he got arrested, right, he won because he already has money. It's not like he's broke. He doesn't have to really do what he done the other day. He's broke. He could have paid the whatever the bond if he wanted to, but they didn't make him pay the bond. It was only what 100,000. He went into the church because he doesn't give a damn, right? He's thinking in his head he's rich. So somebody who's that rich, unless you know somebody with that type of money, they don't think like the average person. They think that they're invincible. They think they're powerful, like Donald Trump. Um, that he could do anything. He feels he doesn't go have to respect the law or go by the law. That's what it seems like. Now that you dig it up and you see how much money this guy has. Don Lemon is live right now on his show. You're right. You're probably right. Look, you said it. Look, Daniel Munson, Don Lemon is live right now on his show, Don Lemon Show. I wouldn't be surprised. He's going to get the viewers. That's a lemon guy gets me sick. So why would you think going in a church would get you arrested? He probably had an idea this would come. He knew what he was doing. He probably knew what he was doing, and he was willing to sacrifice himself for the attention. Someone just said he's live right now. So people are going to tune in right now. He knows what he's doing. He's in Los Angeles, right? So right now in Los Angeles is about, let me see, right now, maybe 9:30. It's about 9:30 right now. He's getting the people. He's getting the people. Why? So, what's illegal about going into a church or protesting? They're saying because he's interrupting a place of worship. He was in. They were. He was questioning the pastor, and the pastor didn't give him that permission. So it was like harassment to the pastor by questioning him. By questioning the pastor, right? So that was like harassment, and that was against. That's an act. I think it's called the Face Act. I'm hearing it's called the Face Act. So that's what was wrong with it. That he's breaking the law by going on a private property and asking a pastor and asking the pastor questions and interrupting basically a place of worship where worshipers were. So that's what they're saying. More ice, less lemon. But now Lemon's live now. He's live. He's live to talk more shit. So let's see what he's going to talk about. Obviously, he's going to talk about his freedom of speech. He's going to talk about that he had the right. This is attack on freedom of speech. But is he going to clarify what he done? Is he going to say that he went into a church and he was asking questions from the pastor, and he was only asking questions from the pastor because the pastor is a ICE agent? Is he going to say that, or is he just going to go over that and talk something else? Right now, he's live, I'm hearing, right? Correction, I was mistaken. It was Stephen A who was talking on Don Lemon. Oh, Stephen A, he is controversial too. He supports Trump. Stephen A. So it's not Don Lemon. Stephen A. is another black man. People get that confused. Yes, Stephen A. So Don Lemon's not live, people. Let me correct that. Don Lemon is not live, but he's going to be live soon. I guarantee he's going to be talking, because I'm thinking, why would he be talking right now? Like, he just got out of jail recently, not too long ago, right? So yeah, what's his name, Stephen A Smith, he's always talking, man. Stephen A Smith, he's controversial. He's losing a lot of support from the black community. He supports the ICE. That's what some people think, that he supports ICE. I don't know if he's going to try to take back what his words. I don't know if he's going to criticize Don Lemon, if he's friends with Don Lemon, or he's going to talk about journalism too, because he's a journalist and he's very controversial what he talks about himself. So yeah, I when someone said Don Lemon is, yeah, you corrected. Good thing you correct that. He's not live right now, but Mr. The other guy, yeah, he's very controversial. So Nicki Minaj got what she wanted. Who's laughing behind the scenes? Her. She's laughing behind the scenes. She got what she wanted. And he kind of got what he wanted. Both parties got what they want. Both sides got what they wanted. I should put it out like that. They both got what they wanted, and it worked, right? Freedom of access to clinics, entrances. What the f? What does they have to do with the church? Well, he put himself in the church. Lemon invaded a sacred, safe space. Let me say that again. Lemon invaded a sacred, safe space. So that's what they're charging Mr. Don with by going into a place of worship and doing what he was doing, right? He shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have done that. He broke the law. He broke the law. And if you look up the law, I'm going to see the FACE Act. The FACE Act. The FACE Act. That's what they call it, the FACE Act. Let's see what the FACE Act is. People will try to debate this. Okay, this was used about what to know about abortion clinic law being used in charge Don Lemon. So they're using abortion clinic law to charge Don Lemon, not a religious one. I didn't see this. What is the FACE Act? The law signed by former President Bill Clinton in 1994 prohibits the use of force, physical obstruction, intimidation, or interference with people trying to access or reproductive health clinics, including both abortion clinics and anti-abortion crisis. This is not no church though. Someone brought this up. This is not a church. See, where they're trying to use that for the church. So maybe it's true. See, it's going back and forth. Maybe he could be in the church, but still it's private property. It's still private property. They have to, you cannot be allowed to enter private property and do certain things. It's still private property. But this FACE Act, where people are talking that he broke the law, it wasn't at an abortion clinic, it was a church. It was a church, not an abortion clinic. What is the FACE Act? Obscure law used to prosecute Don Lemon. Okay, this is what they want to use. So they're using something what is used against abortion clinics, or was it used against abortion clinics? Not a church. The former CNN anchor, independent journalist Don Lemon was arrested Thursday and charged under the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrance Act over his filming and protest at a church in Minneapolis early this month. Department of Homeland Security officials confirmed to MS Now. Lemon and three others who who officials took into custody, including another independent journalist, Georgia Fort, all face similar charge of interfering with the right to religious freedom under the law. But I didn't hear nothing with no religious stuff. It was just a abortion clinic. Correct me if I'm wrong. Lemon and three. So they said with the right for religious freedom under the law, as well as a count of conspiracy against rights, a Reconstruction era law originally passed to combat the actions of the Ku Klux Klan. See, more keeps coming up. More keeps coming up. First is abortion clinics, and then people are saying he has the right to do what in the church, but it's really illegal. Like, come on now. Now they're saying conspiracy to the rights, a Reconstruction era law, originally passed to combat the actions of the Ku Klux Klan, according to the copy of Lemon's indictment obtained by MS Now. The FACE Act violates the violations are punishable up to a year in prison for the first offender. The conspiracy against rights charge carries up to a decade in prison. Imagine if they got done for a decade, right? Which I don't think so. The FACE Act has historically been used to prosecute anti-abortion right activists who block or invade reproductive health clinics. So they used it, clarification, they used it to go after people who are blocking, people going to abortion clinics, like a protest, because there's big protests back in the days and still is probably against that. But it also contains a provision prohibiting the same activities at house of worship. Okay, so I'm gonna read that. Let's read that. But it also contains provisions prohibited the same activities of the house of worship which Trump's administration used to target Lemon and others. You see? Said last year, Trump's Doge announced that it would largely forego prosecuting anti abortion rights protesters under the FACE Act, the main intent of the law when it was passed 30 years ago. So Trump was saying he's going to use this, right? He's going to use this, and he used it against this guy, Don Lemon. Here's what to know about the law and how Trump's administration has weighed it thus far, right? What is the FACE Act? The law signed by former President Bill Clinton in 1994 prohibits the use of force, physical obstruction, intimidation, or interference with people trying to access reproductive health clinics, including both abortion clinics and anti abortion crisis pregnancy centers. Another statute of the law, one being invoking against Lemons, prohibits the same actions at places of religious worship. It was passed on the heels of mounting violence facing abortion providers, including the murders of physicians in the late 80s and 90s. That rise in violence was tied to Operation Rescue, a Christian organization that organizes mass clinic blockades and protests across the country, which also attracted participation of some of the people who eventually murdered abortion providers. At this time, it has its passage, the FACE Act was bipartisan and was not particularly divisive, a divisive thing, said Mary Zingler, a historian and professor at the University of California, Davis School of Law, who has written 7 books on the history of abortion in America. So this was used against abortion in America, right? For people who are protesting largely against them. And this is the same thing they're applying to Don's situation. There was a feeling in the wake of all these killings that the national temperature needed to be lowered, she added. How is the Trump administration using it? That's what's important. How is the Trump administration using it? This is how they are using it. The Trump administration has selectively interpreted the law seemingly to target the president's political opponents. Zingler said, Trump's administration is definitely focused on the ideology and not the tactics of the protesters, she said. 4 days into President Trump's second term, the Department of Justice released a memo alleging that the FACE Act had been weaponized against anti abortion protesters and declared that it would roll back most prosecutions under the law, except for cases presenting insignificant aggravated factors such as death, serious bodily harm, and serious property damage. So, this they're trying to put with like Don Lemon going into the church. They're adding the church, protesting in Minnesota, all that protesting. They're putting it as the same. They're putting the law there. Most cases could be adequate by to be addressed under state or local law. The DOJ added. The memo also called for the dismissal of 3 pending federal FACE Act cases filed against defendants for impending access to. This is keep going about abortion stuff, man. Don, defiant, rich man, $24.5 million, fooling people. $24 million, right? Let me just read some of your comments, people. What is this? So this is why people have all gathered all their information when they come out with their opinion. No, what just read says they weren't going to use it. Said they weren't going. It seems like he's using it. Seems like Trump and his administration is using it against Don. If they're even twisting it their way, it's their way. But it seems that they're using it against Don, and they don't give a damn. Don really, vice versa, he don't give a damn because he's rich. Don is rich. He's a rich. So he's just doing this for, to me, what people might say clout. Some people might say, oh, he's fighting for, the freedom of speech. He's the our he's our guy. He's fighting against freedom of speech. He's doing it for America too. He's fighting for the First Amendment. He's fighting for that. That's what Don is putting. But then you hear about this FACE Act because they used to protest a lot for the abortion stuff. Still are. So this protest, he went to a place of worship, and he was questioning the pastor and saying that he brought unwanted attention, right? That's what they're charging him for conspiracy and interference and all types of stuff. That's what they're charging him with. And they don't care. Why are people always so sure about someone else's reasons? Bullshit. He's fighting for the 15 minute of fame. Yes, I believe he's fighting for the fame. He's already rich and famous. People are saying he's already famous. They're saying he's already famous. I think he's just fighting to be more relevant. Let's say relevant. Let's say he's fighting to be more relevant, right? Because being more relevant will make you, you know, get more spotlight, bad or good sometimes. He's getting spotlight right now. But he lost, like I said, and we're going to see this continue. You're going to see Nicki Minaj, the lady who was with Trump on the stage the other day, lash out, right? We're going to see a back and forth. We're going to see more of back and forth. She's with Trump, man. She's with Trump. Trump is her number one. I mean, she's the number one fan of Donald Trump. Case didn't racist activists. Yeah, you could call them racist activists. You could say that, right? You notice that people love the sitting president who has to use the taxpayers' money and hate the president that don't have to use any of the people's tax paying money. Matthew, this is what he says. Have you noticed that people love sitting president who has to use the taxpayers' money and hate the president that don't have to use the taxpayers' money? That's something. People hated Kennedy, Reagan, and Donald Trump. That's true. People hated Bush. You remember Bush? A lot of people said they hated Bush. He was like the most hated president. I remember that, right? Don't you guys remember? Everybody hated Bush for the 9/11 stuff and all that, right? So most presidents, let's see who's loved. What? Clinton, or Obama, Kennedy, and the rest don't have too much of a good name. You only hear those ones people are talking about the most. But look, Don Lemon wanted to fight with Nikki. Nikki became good friends with Donald Trump. Donald Trump was smiling a lot in the background, held her hand, right? Held her hand and basically said everything's gonna be all right. We're gonna get your citizen. You're gonna get your citizenship. You're good. Oh, and she gave $300,000. She gave $300,000, and she said she got her citizenship free. Come on, cut the BS. You gave 300 at the Trump Gov whatever the Treasury, and you said that you got your gold card or whatever your citizenship fully now free. You didn't get it free. You had to pay for that shit. You gave money over 300, Nikki. And then you were talking like he's the best president ever. She said he's the best president ever. So she had to put on a campaign for Donald. She did put on a campaign for Donald. And look, it worked. It really worked. And now this guy today, and I said it yesterday, who's next? Whoever talks bad about Donald Trump, right? She's going to spotlight it. And those people, if you have any dirt, which they did have some dirt, they made up whatever dirt on Don. They went for him, arrested his ass not too long after this whole thing was going on with Donald Trump, shamed him. Basically, that was after what? The Grammys? So people are going to be talking about this. Journalism, especially for most journalists, they're going to say, if I go out there for the ICE events, this they got you. This is the big picture. What it is? Getting down to earth. They're saying if you go out there now, not just TikTok, not just any social media, you go out there and you talk about Trump in a bad way, and you're known, like amplified known, he's going to dig up something about you. They're going to dig out something about you. And if you have any dirt, they're coming for you. If you owe the IRS anything, money, they're coming for you as a celebrity, right? Where's what's his name? Robert De Niro. Where's Robert De Niro? Was it Robert De Niro the one who called talked about Trump the most? Right? You like Bush? He was a good president. Now, yeah, now people see how good he was. Bush, you're right. But this is an example what they're putting out. They're putting an example for the rest of the celebrities, right? Because remember, Trump is a celebrity and he knows about the celebrity world, right? So they're going after the celebrities who want to talk because the celebrities are very influential. I was saying the other day, what happened to all these people against Trump, all these celebrities? It's like the Diddy thing. When Diddy got in trouble, all the celebrities disappear who were friends with him. Now I'm like thinking, where all the people who were saying F Donald Trump? Snoop Dogg. Did he say F Donald Trump, Snoop? And how much other people were saying stuff about Donald Trump? You're not hearing Snoop saying nothing about Donald Trump. Even these other rappers or these other famous people, they're very quiet. Look what happened to I think his name is Mark Ruffalo, the guy for, like I said, Incredible Hulk, right? Perfect example. He said some stuff about Donald Trump. He got fired. He got fired, right? This is a pattern. He got fired, the guy from Incredible Hulk. Let me look him up. This is a pattern. So, you celebrities, he's basically saying, stay out of it. Stay out of my affairs, right? Or else you're gonna you're gonna lose your job. Mark Ruffalo, right? What happened to him? He lost his job talking against Trump. And he done some movies before this happened, but still, he talked about Trump, got fired from Disney. That's what screwed him up. Mark Ruffalo delivering Scatchin's criticism of Donald Trump. Golden Globes. Golden Globes. That was January 12th. January 12th, not too long ago. Actor Mark Ruffalo used his time on the Golden Globes red carpet to pay tribute to Renee Good from the ICE situation again, who was shot and killed in the U.S. immigration. Mark Ruffalo criticism of Donald Trump. So he criticized Donald Trump, thinking nothing's gonna happen. Mark Ruffalo protests ICE calls Trump worst human being at the Global Awards. So, yo, he got you to lose your job 100%. I mean, he was influential, probably getting your job. You got fired, yo. Mark Ruffalo attended the 83rd annual Golden Globe Awards at the Beverly Hills on January 11th. That's not too long ago, 2026. And the U.S. President Donald Trump speaks to reporters as he greets Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Some celebrities don anti-ice pins at the 2026 Golden Globes. I guarantee Donald Trump has a video of that, whoever was against him. Some celebrities don anti-ice pins at the 2026 Golden Globes on Sunday, a tribute to Rain Nicole Good, who was shot and unalived in her car by an immigration customs enforcement officer. Right? The black and white pins displayed slogans like "Be Good" and "Iced Out" as the celebrities walked the red carpet at the award show held at Beverly Hilton in Los Angeles. All those people are marked. There's more coming, right? Mark Ruffalo wore the pin and at the red carpet and told USA Today, "This is for Renee Good, who was unalived." Ruffalo then directed his attention to the U.S. President Donald Trump, saying, We're in the middle of a war with Venezuela that is illegally invaded. He's telling the world that international law doesn't matter to him. The only thing that matters to him is his own morality. But this guy is a convicted felon and a convicted rapist. You can't say that about the president, accusing him of saying he's a convicted felon and a rapist. You know what that means. So that's why you lost your job at Disney. You lost your job at Disney. Now, is he going to sue like Don Lemon? I don't know. But he lost his job. Is he going to fight like Lemon? Don Lemon got 24.5 million, right? For them letting him go. Disney is very, very big. So Mark probably is going to fight this 100%. He's going to fight this. All those celebrities who were at the Golden Globe Awards, Mr. Trump's probably watching that video to see who's the people who were at this award show. 100%. He's watching who were at this award show, all the ones with the pins. He's ready for Whoopi Goldberg to say something. He's waiting for a whole bunch of them to say something because he's going to probably try to do some type of tax on celebrities. The next thing, if any of you guys start protesting against Trump, he's going to probably try to do some type of shit on you. 100%. He right now is trying something on this guy. Right now, he's gonna try something on this guy, but this guy's what 24.5 what million. So really, it's not the money. He wanted to see him locked up in prison. Trump wants to see this guy locked in prison, jail, and stuff. Nicki Minaj too probably wants to see him locked up and stuff. The most he could get is what? What did they say? A year? A year in prison or longer than that. He could get some type of time if they push this. Let's see. It took 3 attempts to even get him arrested. They only held him for 12 hours. Yes, he's out. Yes, he's out. So they got him in the night. That's how the law like to do it. They got him in the nighttime. So he spent a night in jail, came out. I don't know how late it was, but he spent a night in jail and came out maybe in the morning or afternoon and stuff like that. So this was shame. This was just to shame him. The big picture was to shame Lemon. It was to shame him. It is a public shaming, an example to other celebrities who talk against Trump, right? He's not going to jail. Maybe he's not because he's rich. He could fight this. He could pay for lawyers. This is an example. He wants to go to court. He wants to show how the system is. Guarantee he wants to go to court. It's going to backfire. He's playing with the fire though, right? He's playing with fire, obviously, and he doesn't care. He's playing with the fire. He's playing with Donald Trump. He wants to go and talk about Donald Trump. Guarantee. I want to see the next thing what comes out of Don Lemon's mouth, and will it be him talking about Donald Trump? What will he say, or will he be more careful this time? Will he be more like closing his mouth and be careful what he says? Go Trump, and he needs to go to prison. Go Trump. He needs to go to prison. They say he could get some time. I think they said up to 10 years. I swear I seen up to 10 years. That's kind of isn't that kind of ridiculous? It couldn't be that, man. It couldn't be 10 years just for doing that. But either way, they shamed them. Both parties got what they wanted. One party got to shame the journalists, and the other side, right, got attention. Don got the attention. He's gonna be more relevant. He's going viral. He's gonna get more whatever views on whatever platform he's building. He has himself, right? If he has a show, the next time he goes live or he has a episode of himself talking, he's gonna talk about himself getting arrested, right? Might be careful what he says because he still has a case. So will he talk? Can he talk? That's a question. Can he talk about this case? Or if he talks, will it affect his case? Because him himself needs a lawyer now and he's a journalist. Does this muzzle him right now? Like could he I'm wondering, he had a news conference and he talked about basically his rights. So you all know when there's a case, you got to be kind of careful what you're saying. So he still got this case over his head. Is he going to talk? He don't give a damn. Wrong, Don arrested. Yes, Trump belongs in prison. I agree. So, well, people could talk all they want about Donald Trump. 34 charges and nothing happened. 34 charges and he became the president, right? So Don already posted a video, but you can't necessarily discuss the case itself while it's ongoing, but he can discuss the current charges against him. So it kind of muzzles him. It kind of muzzles him from talking. And he's a journalist. So other people could talk, but he can't talk until this case is finished, which is going to be a while. It's not going to just go and come. It's going to be a while. So he cannot talk. That's something new. It shouldn't say it's something new, but yeah, for a guy like him who's a journalist, he cannot talk. That's crazy. Journalists can't talk at all. Muzzle their mouth. No talking, Don. Lock him up, Lemon, for prison. Nah, he can have his opinions, but he can't report the extent of his rights being violated until afterwards. Oh shit. He did say something in a conference. So he basically kind of muzzled until it's cleared up, and it's not gonna be cleared up no time soon. It's gonna make a lot of people have conversations about freedom of speech, especially in America. They're gonna be wondering if, as a journalist, if I go out there and talk against Trump or any situation like a protest, I'm gonna get myself in trouble. If I gotta be careful, right? Even if people might have still the right, they might saying he's an example. They're using an example. He's an example, right? He's a big example. Like Trump's going after a lot of people. He's behind the scenes. He let Cash Patel go after this guy, Lemon, right? So the same thing he's doing with other people. He wants to go after Obama. I don't know if you guys heard the news. He's accusing Obama of doing all types of shit, making up news about him associated with the Russians for elections. I don't know if people are hearing that, but he's trying to bring up some documents saying that Mr. Obama, was doing some dirt on his name. So Trump is going after Mr. Obama too, allegedly, because he believes that Obama tried to, put dirt on his name. A lot of people put dirt on Donald Trump's name, right? ICE has broken the laws many times in that same city. Don will be dismissed. Hmm, it's true. So Trump's playbook is Hitler and Netanyahu. Listen, Donald Trump don't give a damn. This guy is breaking international rules, international laws, international laws. So he will break even laws in America. He believes he's above all right now. He don't give a damn. I agree. Trump is just prejudiced, but it's okay. So guess what? You know what I respect about Trump is that he's telling you who he is. There's people who accuse was just bring coming up about Bill Clinton. People are starting to call Bill Clinton racist, but everybody thought because he was a Democrat that he was all good with black people and Clinton. He's playing the friggin' trumpet at Arsenio Hall show with glasses, so he likes jazz and they're all good. Listen, there's so much stuff coming up about even Bill Clinton, but he was more quiet, right? Sometimes the quiet ones are more deadlier, right? A whole bunch of them are like that. But Trump is basically saying, no, I'm not hiding. I'm telling you that I don't like these people. He went on TV, said he didn't like the Somalis in America. And people will forget that shit, that clip. He said he didn't like the Somalis in America. Donald Trump. What do you call that? He says he doesn't like that. They caught him on video saying, "Grab the pussy." They caught him on video saying that. That's not fake. That AI. So he doesn't care. Lo, he was arrested and already released. Yeah, they couldn't hold him if they were actually at risk of charges. Would not have made. But then again, he has the money. He has the money and he has the influence. The money and the influence. This was just to shame him. This was just to shame him and to like say, like put him in his place. Like, yeah, you see what we done to you? We came to at your home in Los Angeles, and we came in at night, and then we arrested your ass. And now, look, next time, be careful what you say about the president, because he had beef with Donald for years from the first term he was talking, right? The first. So this guy has a mouth. He even talked about these people at CNN, but he got away with 24.5 million. 24.5 million. This guy's a millionaire. So he's relaxing at home, chilling. He's a rich man, Don Lemon. So he wants the smoke. He wants the smoke. Lo, he wants the smoke. Don't believe that shit. Yeah, it's just a parade. Divine, don't get your hopes up. He wants the smoke. Don wants the smoke, people. He don't care. He's putting himself out there. He wants to test the system. He's making people fight about amendment, First Amendment, the Constitution, saying that, yo, but he went to a church and he interfered. People are saying he interfered with the church. He was questioning the pastor. The pastor did not want to speak with him. The pastor felt that he was being harassed. The pastor or the church people felt that he was harassing them. And then there's this protest going. So meanwhile, the protest is going on. There's people who are saying that they don't like this energy coming to them, and that's against the law, right? That's against the law. So that's not true. No, he didn't. That's what they're saying. They're saying he went into the church. They didn't say he was outside of the church. They're saying he went in the church. This is what is reported, not me. They're saying he went into the church and he had other people in the church and he was questioning the pastor who's part of ICE. And the pastor, he said, basically didn't feel comfortable with him doing that and that he is breaking the law, right? They charge him with conspiracy, right? Conspiracy and interference. That's what they charge him with. Truthfully, answer my question. What you're saying? What is your Michael Walker? What's your question? Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Sub first, right? So, yo, it don't look good, man. Every day, it seems that, and I told you guys before with this whole TikTok stuff, they're taking away your freedom slowly. 200 million people use that platform. And if you look on the recent updates, if you want to use that, they're taking away all your freedoms. It's basically making you give up yourself, right? Making you give up yourself. However, ICE is breaking laws and agents being a pastor, he broke a lot more. But that wasn't has to do with the church. What does that have to do with the church? Even if he broke it, he's not in court. He's not in court now. This is a situation that you, no matter what, you could be a guy with the biggest record or whatever, and you're out there on parole or whatever. No one has the right to just come to you and ask you any questions. If you don't want to answer no questions, you don't have to answer any questions. That's like harassment, right? And it's even worse that it's in a church. It's even worse, right? It's in a church. So who wins? Who wins is the pastor. The preacher asked them to leave because he was trying to preach God's word to his congregation and asked Don Lemon to leave, but he and his asshole friends yelled and people like they were stupid. And I heard kids were there. So yes, let me read this again. Thompson Bailey, the preacher asked them to leave because he was trying to preach God's word to his congregation and asked Don to leave, but he and his asshole friends yelled at people and like they were stupid. So he yelled at the people because he wanted to ask this pastor questions and he was angry, so he yelled at the people. The truth is like kryptonite to the liberals. Yeah, but your phrasing sounds very ICE, very MAGA. Who's phrasing it? Tell me, not me. Being on both sides, man, both sides. Like I said, the ICE originally is for the immigrants who are illegal in America. Let's get back to that. Let's get back to all the millions or billions of dollars what was stolen from the American taxpayers. Let's get back to that. No, let's not. This is all a distraction, like I said yesterday with Nicki Minaj, right? Let's get back to the billions of dollars that was stolen from the American taxpayer and why we're gonna be sympathetic to people who have stolen money from your pockets, right? Who gives a do you give a shit what ICE is really doing? The only mistake ICE is doing is that they unalive, right or wrong, American citizens. That's the biggest mistake they've done is unalive, and no one is perfect, American citizens, and that's why people are saying shame, shame, shame against the ICE because of that. But if that never happened, all of you would be saying more ICE, ICE baby, more ICE, ICE baby before all of these the unaliving of these American citizens. People are saying, yeah, ship those Somalis back to where they come from. There's thieves and all types of things. You are hearing all of those words before and then, oops, something happened. It's not a Somali. And then now it's different. It's a different thing, right? Get the illegals out. Well, both Trump and Biden brought them here, as did many other presidents before. It's only a problem when it's on the news. Yes, it's on the news. He made sure, remember, he wanted the wall. Remember, Trump wanted the wall. He didn't do it. It's a different thing he's doing now. They locked up the wrong person. When God gets tired of his mess, they all going to be in jail for good. There's all Were you talking about Trump should be in jail? Maybe, maybe. Let's see. Let's see. He prevented kids in the daycare downstairs from going upstairs to be with their parents and yelled at the kids. Whoa! Damn, I heard about something about the kids. I heard about something at the kids. If you done that shit, you're like almost a devil. Let me read this again. I heard something about that. He prevented the kids in the daycare downstairs from going upstairs to be with their parents and yelled at the kids that they're going to hell. You see how this is coming out? I heard about him yelling at the kids and saying going to hell. So he does. Come on, man. As the story comes out more, are you gonna defend this guy? Saying they're all going to hell? Like, I know you want to cover a story. I know that you're a media guy, but you're telling me when the kids were coming upstairs, he was yelling at them and saying, you're all going to hell. You're all going to hell. Come on. But people, please subscribe. Please subscribe to the platform. Damn. So this man I was hearing about that. I was hearing about that shit, right? You don't go into a place of worship and do that, idiot Don Lemon. So I can't excuse that. These people put themselves in harm's way. Things are bound to happen with the chaos they cause. You can't excuse that. Don didn't yell at them, but his protesters did that. White guy with the beard called woke farmers did yell at everyone's kids. So okay, Don didn't yell at them, but his protesters did. Don didn't yell at them, but his protesters did. You're all going to hell. All right? I don't believe that he was talking to pastors and members. That's what they're accusing him of. They're accusing him of questioning the pastor. They're accusing him of either way. He shouldn't have been in there. That was the place. It's like he knew the pastor was the ICE. It's like you're trying to, start something. You know the pastor is ICE. So it's going to get attention. You went to the St. Paul's Church in Minnesota, where the pastor who works for ICE is, right? Don is very much on video interviewing the pastor inside the church. See? I watched the live. You watched it live. So Don is very much on in video interviewing the pastor. So meanwhile, his church, Don's supporters is yelling at children and people, "You're all going to hell." And Don is trying to get questioning the pastor who's ICE. It's all gonna come out. You better not lie, Don or whoever. It will come out. So if it comes out that you're doing this and they put it that it's against the law, you might be going to jail for a year or a couple months, right? The guy with the beard said they were fake Christians and they're all going to hell. Don is facing federal charges and trying to get some jail time. He's probably get a couple months. He's probably gonna they're gonna use him as an example. I could see him getting like a 6 months if they really push it because they have videos, right? They're paid protesters, probably. You're probably right. They're paid protesters. I've seen black preachers say if he tried that in their church, they would have thrown him out. That's true. That's true. That's true. Black church people would have threw him out. Yeah, yeah, it's the federal charges, but Don was indeed just doing his job reporting. Don didn't yell at anyone and left the interview with the pastor. So if he didn't yell at nobody, because people were saying he was yelling, right? They're saying it's the people, the protesters were yelling and saying that you guys are going to hell, his protesters with Don, right? So he probably is gonna drop the soap on purpose in the shower. The other guy needs federal charges. So they did arrest three other people. Remember, they arrested three other people, another reporter, right? So yes, um, Don might serve some time, maybe a couple months, or he might have to pay. They want him to pay. I don't think you're right. He might not go to jail, but they might put it out like, "Oh, pay us this amount of money," right? It's like extorting him. They know he's a millionaire. Hey, pay us like maybe $3 million, and you won't go to prison. That's what might happen. He might pay his way out of this because he's a millionaire. So they're gonna push it. They're gonna push this for real. So he probably is gonna, yeah, he's gonna drop the soap. They're gonna try to put him behind bars, 100%. They want to try to show example to other media people, right? Now TikTok, you can't even talk about this shit. If you tried to talk about this stuff and saying, "Oh, Donald Trump is a dummy," or "Nicki Minaj, she's an idiot," on TikTok, they're gonna mark you, know who you are, and you're just gonna be marked on the TikTok because now they could know everything about you, your location, right? They want to know your identity more than ever, even your religion, your color on TikTok right now. The 200 million users from America use TikTok. So out of all those people, there might be some idiots who go on there and start trying to post talking about this whole situation with the First Amendment, right? So it's crazy. So let's see, Seven Gator, legit. I completely agree there. There had a right to protest, but during an active serm is against the people's right within the church, whether you agree or not with the pastor. It's true. It's true. So Don, you're breaking the law. You're breaking the law, Don. You're breaking the law with your people. Not good. Not good, people. He's going to be fined. I noticed you called it extortion. Well, okay, he's fined. People said he should go to jail, right? People say he should go to jail. So by not going to jail, now you got to pay the money to avoid prison, right? Okay, no TikToks for me. Yeah. If you are a pastor and you work with ICE, come on, that's a monster in a suit praying to what God is he praying to. But then again, there's Ku Klux Klan who are policemen. I mean, who are pastors too, and policemen. So come on, guess what? More accountability. Morons against government accountability. Mm, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's facts. Malignant anti-heroes galvanizing the atrocities. Whatever. Um, right now, this guy got targeted by this lady who's with Donald Trump. Got targeted by Nicki Minaj. She's big part of it. She's a big part of it. She highlighted it when he was in the church. She highlighted it, right? She highlighted it big. And after so big that Trump said he's an asshole or whatever, he said something about him, vulgar about Lemon. Wasn't it that he knew about what this happening? I thought that's why he was getting in trouble. I could be wrong. You're right. It is against the Constitution to disrupt people's freedom of religion, right to worship in their privileged house of worship, church of the or mosque. So they're going to use this against Don. They're going to use this against Don. 100%. They're going to use this against Don, and they're using it as an example. So what else journalists don't like Trump? Who else is out there who doesn't like Trump? Whoopi, you talk a lot about Trump. Better hope you don't have no dirt. Who else? Who else doesn't like Trump? There's a whole bunch. Oh, Joe Rogan. I'm come on, Joe. Joe, you are friends with Trump. Joe, you are a podcaster, if they want to call you journalist, whatever, but you were friends with Donald Trump, Joe. And now you turned against Donald Trump and saying stuff about the ICE. So, Joe, you better hope you don't have any dirt because maybe Joe Rogan is next. Maybe Joe, you better call your friend and just tell him it's just acting. Wasn't it that he knew about this happening? I thought it was why he was getting in trouble. I could be wrong. He recorded literally all of it, but January 6th, Sixers didn't too. But listen, it's not just Don. They're going for other people. So Joe Rogan, the biggest podcaster in the world, been calling out Trump, comparing it to some some other types of shit. The ICE, right? Joe Rogan been criticizing Trump. So Joe, do you really want to do that, man? Do you really want to call out your friend? You were always seen with him. You are supporting Donald. Now you don't support him. Like, what is this? Right? Elon Musk is not doing this. Elon Musk is good. Elon Musk is not doing this. And Elon Musk is not born in America, but he's American citizen, guaranteed. Right? Expose what Mr. Joe Rogan been talking about the ICE. Talking about the ICE is wrong. Saying that they're it's the Gestapo. It's like the Gestapos and shit like that, right? Being critical and taking rights away and totally different. Yeah, he came legally. Yeah, Elon Musk came legally. Yes, he came legally, right? But she spotlighted Don Lemon, and what do you expect, man? What do you expect? You called her. She called you out, and you called her out, right? This is what she said. This is connected to everything what happened. 100%. Nicki Minaj sparks backlash after calling Don Lemon a homophobic slur over Minnesota's church incident. Right? The rapper Nicki Minaj has ignited a firestorm of controversy following scathing social media attacks directed to an independent journalist Don Lemon from erupted over the weekend. So that was last weekend, right? For disrupting the church. So she had something to say about it. Long time ago, from last weekend, she had something to say about it. And after then, she had her little thing yesterday, just a while ago, not too long ago, of being a full citizen with the gold card, right? She got the gold card. Now she's all American. MAGA Minaj, all American hero. Yes, she got her gold card. And she's with Donald Trump, hugging and with the hands, holding the hands and everything, right? And now Don Lemon, who was talking bad about Nikki, got arrested right after the Grammys, right? So she won that. She's laughing. Then you see her smiling, MAGA Nikki, right? So MAGA Nikki is doing it right. I don't hear about the other MAGA hip hop supporter, Mr. What's his name? Kanye West. Kanye West is quiet in all of this shit right now. You're not hearing nothing. MAGA Nikki, what a cute couple. He filmed himself conspiring to take what the church over, and even said this is what happens when you're ice. What? Oh, okay. There goes Nikki, gay fan base. Yeah, she lost the gay fan base. Nikki, you lost the gay fan base 100%. You lost that gay fan base because she did have a big gay fan base, right? Or LGBTQ fan base. You lost that. Trump been taking away the rights from that community for a while. You lost that. And let's be this kind of symbolic. Don Lemon is from that community, right? Don Lemon is from that community straight up. So it kind of works for Nikki being good with Trump, even if it's for her, whatever personal reasons, it's working. She knows how to pull the strings, and Trump is basically against that. Don Lemon is from that community too. So don't forget that it's all in the cards, right? Sweet Lemon, yes. So she basically called him out for doing that. And what a coincidence, she was at that Treasury meeting with Donald Trump, talking probably about this guy. Hey, Donald, like I said, I'm your number one fan. That guy Don is talking dirty about me. You know what? Maybe you guys should really press and lock him up for what he done at that church. He was interfering with the church. He should be locked up, right? Donald Trump probably said, you know what? You were right, Let's look this up. Let's look up the laws, what he's done. He's been indicted, but the judge didn't want to go through with it. So, you know what? Let's see. And they went for him in Los Angeles in the night, took him, arrested him. The FBI, I think Cash Patel was part of it, locked him up, and now look. But this guy's a millionaire. See, it's going both sides. Both sides win. Nikki wins, Trump wins, he wins. He wins more attention, right? The only thing he could lose is his freedom if they lock him up for like 6 months or a year. That's the only thing what Don could lose is some freedom. But he's not going to lose, and maybe some money. But he's not really losing. He's getting more attention. The man is a millionaire, a good amount of money. He was probably making money before he got that settlement. But he got a settlement for 24.5 million from CNN, right, for his contract, which was still, good, and they fired him. So he's good. Drugs and spirituality to the whole bad enough to make a rap called Bigfoot, and okay, nasty. So yes, both sides are winning. That's why somebody said maybe behind the scenes they're really working with each other. I don't know about that. But yes, both sides are winning somehow, some way. Both sides are definitely winning in this situation because the only thing, like I said, down the line is Don gets locked up for like a couple months, then he fully loses because and then again, he's going to be in prison with. If he was to get locked up in prison, he's going to be with all men, which he's attract. I'll be straight up. He's attracted to men, so it's not going to be like he's in a place where he's going to be suffering, right? It's not going to be suffering. These people make money in different ways than in the public. is seeing you guys be realistic. The talent isn't real. Manufactured images on humans is real talent. It can make anyone into a celebrity. Yes, they can make anybody into a celebrity. And now this guy, Don, is going to be more relevant. He's going to be like, oh, I'm fighting for the freedom of speech. I'm fighting for the amendment, the First Amendment. I'm fighting for the rights as a journalist to do my job, right? He said, and all in his years of doing his job, he never had this situation yet. But in all his years of doing his job, has he been in a church where there was riots around? Has he? Let's know. I don't know. Has he? Kanye, Nicki, all of them. When Biden had Trump in all the lawsuits, Trump lost a lot of money. Well, Trump's a billionaire, right? So, and he plays with money. So I don't think that really affected him that bad, right? He's getting back that money from oil in Venezuela. He's getting that money right now, and he's getting that money in Minnesota. He's stopping some of that money what they're stealing, and right back to your Americans. Remember, Trump is stopping fraud in Minnesota, right? He's been stopping fraud in Minnesota, Mr. Trump. Stopping a lot of fraud. But people, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Lemon, yes, Mr. Lemon, fired 4 years ago, or it was in 2023. He got some money, man. This guy got money. 24.5 million from CNN. So he's playing a game. He doesn't give a shit. Does he really care about Journalists? Does he really care about the First Amendment? This was planned. I feel this was planned by him. Planned by him and his team. Let's go down to Minneapolis. Let's go into some place, the place we want to go, where the pastor who works for ISIS. We want to go right there where the pastor for ISIS. You get what I mean? I want the big story. We don't give a damn if it's a church. He don't care if it's a church. Let's go there and let's just record and try to get the interview from this guy. Let's force it on him. But he turned around on his ass, right? Even if he knew about some law, probably he was breaking. I dig this chat. Much respect. Your response seem neutral, but over your opinions at least. I don't have mods like cutting people off because someone didn't agree or has the opposite perspective. Respect, Six Gator. Lemon was not scaring anybody though. Look at the footage. So now he's not scaring people. They're in the church. How are they supposed to react? He's just looking for his 15 minutes of fame. He bought a coffee and donuts and planned it with them. Yes, he did. He did. He was planning this stuff. US getting money, not Trump, right? Yep. Subscribe. Much respect. Much respect. The pastor literally walked. Much respect, Bart C, for subscribing. The pastor literally walked up to Don to interview as as crazy was happening, though. It seemed weird to me the pastor was also answering the questions. Like, what, dude? So the pastor was answering the questions, but before the camera went on, maybe we don't see what happened. Maybe it was like forced, like, come on, man. And could you answer some questions, man, for me? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. And then maybe said, all right, I'm gonna, and that's when the cameras came on. And then he started talking. So if someone could get to you, said, hey, could you please answer these questions? Bother, and maybe he said, no, I'm with my congregation, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Now to get rid of him, okay, I'm gonna make you feel comfortable like I want to talk to you. Cameras come on, and then he says a couple words. But really, before the cameras came on, he didn't really want to talk to him, right? It could have been a situation like that. That does happen, right? That does happen. Nah, it was live, like I said, aside, right? Yes, you say you side. So people are saying two things. I only watched Don for 5 to 10 minutes, saw he was live and checked it out. Well, I see if something has that data footage to find it, mostly likely. But before they were recording, he probably was talking to the pastor, asking certain questions, right? And after then, the pastor wanted him out probably of the place, so he was willing maybe to say something. This is going to be a court case. It's not finished. The pastor asked them to leave. Don said he was a Christian, and the preacher said Hood have a seat, and is the only hope for your city and the whole world. So, okay, intrusion. So the pastor asked him to leave. So because he wouldn't leave, he was trying to maybe make him like talk to him in some type of way, right? And it looked like an interview to some people, but he was telling them to leave. He was telling Don to leave. That's what I've been hearing. He was telling Don to leave. So that's what happens. Sometimes before the camera goes on, people harass, could you answer this? Do you know this? Or you work for ICE and blah, blah, blah. Then the guy said, all right, all right, all right, all right, just to get you out of here, right? I'll say this, and that's it. Could you take a seat? Could you take a seat? I just answered one or two questions for you. Could you please take a seat? Oh, I'm a Christian, right? So he's cooking it up. Media people know how to do these things. They know how to do these things, how to incite or do things to make people angry or speak certain types of stuff, right? Don knew what he was doing 100%. He knows what he's doing. Rich man, right? This is symbolic. So, again, if you are a media person in America, if you are a celebrity in America, if you are a politician on the other side in America, and you criticize Donald Trump, let's be straight up. You say something about Donald Trump, you're they're gonna target you, either make you lose your job, or if you go to a protest and you try to do something similar like Lemon, they're gonna lock your ass up in jail. Straight up. They're gonna lock you up. They don't care how famous you are or anything. They're gonna lock you up. Or like Mark Ruffalo the other day, the actor said stuff at the Globe Awards, and then he lost his contract or whatever with Disney. He done his last movies, I guess, there with them. Disney owns Marvel, and he was the guy, the Incredible Hulk. He lost his job. So that's an example what's going on, right? Catholic Church in Minneapolis mass shootings just weeks earlier. I think I heard about that. Congregation had a cause for plus possible fear. Oh, Milk just gave some info to you people. Let me read it again. Catholic Church in Minneapolis mass shooting just weeks earlier. Okay. Congregation has cause for possible fear. That could be true too. Don was too close in that man's personal space in his face. Most of them would not allow that. Mm. Thompson Bailey. So he was too close in the man's face. You know what? He put himself in a situation. He put himself to get arrested. He put himself in a situation where you were going to get arrested, Don. You put yourself in a situation where you are going to get arrested. 100%. And you want to fight this? You don't care. Like, really? I'm telling you, people, this guy's doing this for attention. 100%. It weighs more that he was doing this for attention. He wasn't doing this to fight for no one's rights. I don't want to hear all these people, oh, Don, he done this to fight for the rights of the First Amendment and for journalists, and he didn't do nothing wrong. You done this for yourself. You are rich, right? You are a rich man. You didn't have to do this, and you went. the descriptions, what I'm hearing, that you were in the church and you went into this man's face. They're asking all these questions, saying you're a Christian, doing all of this stuff. You brought the attention to yourself, right? The live footage of it. The camera was rolling the whole time. If it was live stream, whereas there's no need to speculate about what happened. Yes. Yeah. So it happened. They don't care. Both sides don't care. Trump don't care, and he don't care because it works for both sides in a way. He don't care and Trump don't care. It's a fight going back and forth because he's using the First Amendment and Trump and them is using the church that he interfered, and it's a conspiracy, and he interfered in the church. And then he's saying it's my First Amendment that I could speak freedom of speech. He's trying to say anywhere, but there's, come on, the FACE Act, whatever, the FACE Act law, whatever, what was linked with the abortions. They're using that. They're using that against Don, right? He did it for the attention, 100%. He didn't do this for no journalists. Anybody with sense could see this. Come on, man. He done this for attention. He didn't give a shit. He done this for attention, 100%. He did not do this for no journalist integrity. He didn't do this to. He done this to make history. I'm not on either side. I'm just saying I saw the whole thing, and he didn't do anything illegal according to the FACE Act. Okay, the FACE Act is basically saying protesting, right? Protesting and stopping people from entering. So unless people couldn't enter the church, like if that was the case, then it doesn't look good. If that was the case, it does not look good, people. But Don is getting what he wants, attention. He's getting what he wants. He wants that attention, 100%. Yeah, I looked up the FACE Act earlier in the episode, and it's referring to the abortion clinics in the 80s and the 90s when certain people, they got killed unalive, they got killed, right? Because they were protesting, like people who were working for those clinics got killed. So they're trying to say that uh, pastor and the people in the church, they were probably put in danger, similar situation with the protesters protesting against immigration, and the pastor is a person who works for ICE, right? So that's what was going on. Pastor working for ICE, ICE baby. So who's next, people? Who do you think is next on the chopping block? Who you think is next? Because he has money. This guy has money, but it's an example. Now, Kanye West talks a lot too, but I don't think Kanye West is MAGA, so maybe he's gonna just be quiet in this Kanye West because he's a supporter of Trump. He's thinking smart. He doesn't want to get. He wants to talk all he wants to talk, and that's why he has to support Trump because he's a talker, right? But who's next? Can you be a pastor and work for ICE? Isn't there police who are pastors? Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't pastors like, don't they do normal jobs too? There is footage where he clearly states on camera and clearly shows that he is not blocking anything. Also, a conviction can only come from if physical force or threats. We shall see. We shall see what happens, people. We shall see what happens with this case. But it's like a show to me. Like, you know what? It's like a show because this guy's rich. He could fight and pay his way out of this, not like the average citizen. He's privileged to think he could go anywhere as a media guy and do whatever he wants. He wasn't thinking of the consequences, really. He was thinking, I'm just going to do this story and it's going to be big. They came for him Thursday night, recently. Now it's Saturday morning. They came for him Thursday night, arrested him Friday, afternoon. They probably released him. And then he had a big conference talking about freedom of speech, freedom of press, and why he's gonna fight this. He will fight this. The kids were frightened. I keep hearing about the kids were frightened. I keep hearing that the people who support Don Lemon or the protesters was saying a lot of stuff loud and the kids were frightened. He was in Chicago recently doing a walkthrough in downtown. Can any of us walk down the street and meet the city leaders? Lemon is a joke. Woo! No dag, the lie is clear. I'm not a Lemon fan, but I watched the footage. Very controversial, but this is what he wants. 100% wrong or right. This is what this guy wants, Don. Don and Don want it. It's two Dons fighting. Right? And Don want it. Two Dons are fighting. And who's going to win? Mr. Donald Trump. Who's going to win, I say? Mr. Donald Trump. Even if he's out of prison, Lemon, they got him, shamed him. They locked him up, put him in handcuffs for what he was doing. They won. They beat him. No matter what, even if Don Lemon doesn't go to prison, they still beat him. They shamed him. That's the real, just look at that. That's the real thing. They still got him in handcuffs for what he done. It's probably going to be the KKK act, maybe both. Yeah, I heard about that. That was with the act. What about the weird young man Nick Fuentes? That is a weird situation. Yeah, I heard about that too. There's a lot of things going on. A lot of things bubbling right now out there in the media. But that's in the media. What about the people we're not hearing about, like the Epstein files? What about those Epstein files? More keep coming out. They had what 2 million Epstein files. What they have, and they only released what 10,000 or a couple thousand Epstein files, and now you're hearing more about some Epstein files and behind the scenes. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are called to testify, and they don't want to testify. They don't want to testify about the Epstein files. And then remember, Trump is the guy who was behind releasing the Epstein files. So why would he, if people are accusing Trump of being involved with Epstein, why would he incriminate himself by releasing that? Even if he was involved allegedly in it, he probably got rid of anything associated with it to just spotlight other people, right? So, Don, you're playing with a guy who plays with the media too. You're playing with Donald Trump, a media guy. He knows a lot of people in the business, including the corporations where you might want to work for. So, good luck, Don. He did not scare the kids. The protesters might have, but he was not protesting. Yes, he wanted a hot story, but he didn't. But he didn't break the law. Lo, now you suddenly care about the kids. Hmm. Listen, man, this is gonna go back and forth, but both sides won. That's what I'm telling you. Both sides won the game. Both sides won the game. The only kind of lose is Don because he still got locked up. Donald Trump didn't get locked up. You don't see Donald Trump going to jail. Donald Trump didn't go into jail. Nicki Minaj did not go to jail. The only one who went to jail is Don. So Don, you lost really. But in a way, he's a comfortable loser. That's what Trump called him, a loser. He's a comfortable loser because he's a millionaire. He's a millionaire loser, Don Lemon, a millionaire loser, right? So, right, is he really a loser? Because in a way, he's smiling at all you guys, right? Winning in being relevant. He's winning being relevant right now. But people, please subscribe. Please subscribe, people. We're on Spotify Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, Down to Earth Network. Yes, yes, he is nasty excuse of a human being. Which one? Don Lemon or Donald Trump? Which one? Thomas Bailey, Tampon Tim is gonna end up in jail too with all those stealing he's been doing. A lot of people stealing, man. A lot of people are doing a lot of things against the law. But Donald Trump's going after all the money. He's going after all the money. He could smell the money. He could smell the money. They wanted some money out of that guy, Don Lemon. They wanted some money out of him. But the judge just passed him through. But now he's going to fight. He's going to fight. They're going to get some money out of him. If he's going to fight the government, who's he going to fight, Don? He's going to fight the government. I'm guessing he's going to fight Donald Trump, right? Don Lemon. Yep. He's going to fight Donald Trump. Who's he going to fight? He's fighting the government. Donald Trump, does he really want to fight him right now? Yeah, how much money has he made being president? Really? Donald Trump's a billionaire, but he's probably making more money with that Venezuela stuff. The Venezuela stuff will make him real comfortable. 100%. That's making him really, really comfortable. They stole from us. And the money from Minnesota, he stopped that gravy train in Minnesota, right? He stopped the gravy train in Minnesota, and he's gotten a lot of money from Venezuela right now. And he's already rich, a billionaire, Donald Trump. But Lemon is rich too. Not as rich as Donald Trump, but Don Lemon is a rich man. And he doesn't care. This is for clout, 100%. This is 100% for clout. Another winner is Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is the winner because she got her citizenship fully by endorsing Donald Trump. Endorsing Donald Trump got her in. She's good. She endorsed the president, saying she's the number one fan of Donald, and saying she even done a TikTok with Donald. She done a TikTok and everything, a whole campaign. She got a golden card, and on top of it, she got Don Lemon arrested. Let's be straight up. She spotlighted that man. She spotlighted him when when he tried to come back with that personal stuff out here. Um, right? Life has a way of balancing things. You're right. She she got him, man. She's partly responsible for Lemon getting locked up. So it's rich people all fighting each other. That's the big picture. Why did CNN release Don? They released him because he had some nasty comments about some ladies who were working for CNN. He said he talked about them really badly. He talked about their age. I think he was talking about. He had some nasty words for some females who were working for CNN, but maybe they unlawfully fired him or something because he ended up doing a lawsuit. He done a lawsuit for like 24.5 million dollars, and he got that money. So even though he talked nasty about these female people, these female workers at CNN, he left that job winning. He won, right? He won that job. He won that job. But people, please subscribe to the platform. This is the Down to Earth Network. He said women in their 50s are not considered in their prime. And that lady was like, she's in her 50s. Yeah, he said something like that. So he should have got in trouble. See the, see the shit? Normally, a man would get in trouble for that. That would be like sexual harassment or something like that. But because he's gay, I guess it doesn't work that way because he's gay, right? We need to help with our government here in Oregon. 500 billion for the homeless, doing what failed 6 times before ICE protests are covers. You're right, saying in Oregon. But this is, yeah, he said something bad about some lady. He said, let me read what this person said. Thomas Bailey. He said women in their 50s are not considered in their prime. So he disrespected women, but he ended up winning money, right down the line. He got some type of money because I guess they wanted to release him earlier out of his contract or something like that, and then he won all that money, right? So people, like I'm saying, this is going to be viral for the next couple days, a couple weeks. This man is gonna be acting like he's a hero for freedom of speech. Don Lemon, the millionaire, and people are gonna talk about him constantly. It's gonna make him more relevant in the media, and he'll be doing. He can't really speak. He's gonna have to be careful what he says because it could affect his case, and maybe he could go to prison for a little bit. But yeah, this is much respect for subscribing. This is going to continue. It's going to be a fight for freedom of speech, freedom of press, and everything. But people, please subscribe. Look in the description, the music of the night, the spotlight artist of the night, because I also cover music. So look up into the description, the spotlight artist of the night. If you like some hip hop, it's in there, right? So yeah, and you gotta check out the platform on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio, anywhere you get your podcasts. Please support the platform, subscribe. This story will not end, guaranteed. More things are going to come out. Nicki Minaj is the pit bull for, or whatever you want to call it, the enforcer for Donald Trump. For all the celebrities who talk shit against Donald Trump, she'll be spotlighting it. She basically said it, and she said she's not gonna stop supporting him. So that's what's gonna happen. And people, thank you for joining me on the Down to Earth Network. It's your host Sean Myrie. I'm out. Subscribe.